Jamie's got a new car. He only passed his test last week. Chloe and the kids on the school run in their new hybrid, and the Flemings from 23 off to see their daughter at uni. Get car and van insurance that's right up your street at parkerscompare.com. Created by the experts at Parkers, we're 100% independent and dedicated to helping you find the right insurance policy. Quick and easy, you could compare quotes in just 5 minutes from some of the UK's leading providers. For car insurance comparisons you can trust, visit parkerscompare.com. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. See website for details.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Audi. Looking to sell your Audi? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a storm-affected day in Scottish football. There'll be no Celtic against Dundee, that one's postponed, but there are still 4 other Premiership games for us to get our teeth into. Aberdeen host St Mirren, St Johnstone take on Motherwell, Hibs are up at Ross County and Hearts are taking on Kilmarnock. Plenty of lower league action too. I'm Andrew Maclean. Joining me in the studio, Gordon Dalziel, Ross McCormack and Hugh Keevins.
There's a recurring theme today, Andrew, and it is managers under pressure. None more so than the Motherwell boss, Stuart Kettlewell. 5 away games, 1 point. Last 5 away games, 1 goal. If you take that into the Scottish Cup, last week, away game at St Johnstone, out of the Scottish Cup. Motherwell fans back at St Johnstone today, and they are gunning for the manager, who yesterday was too sarcastic for his own good where the fans are concerned. And then go to Pittodrie. Jimmy Teelan, he won against Elgin in the Cup last weekend, but he really needs a league win. And then go back across the country to Tynecastle. Hearts against Kilmarnock. Neil Critchley, second bottom on 24 points. Derek McInnes, Kilmarnock, only 1 point above. Both managers need a result there, but the chances are only one will get it.
Yeah, it's incredible, Hugh, touching on there, the Motherwell manager sitting in 5th place. You would accept that all day long if you're Motherwell, but there's a lot of important games out there. St Johnstone, who beat Motherwell last week, they're back up there again with the loss in the Cup. They're back up there in league duty this afternoon. They need a result. If they're going to try and get off the bottom of the league, which is a big ask, they need to start winning their home games. Aberdeen are the same. I'm looking forward to the Championship games. I think there's a couple of crackers in there. Ayr United Partick second, play 4th. And then you've got Can Falker got up there and revenge that defeat from Wraith Rovers last week in the Scottish Cup. A lot of good games ahead.
There would have been a lot of focus on Celtic against Dundee today. We know that one's off, Ross, but what do you like out of the other fixtures? Plenty to enjoy there.
Yeah, loads to enjoy. I'm like the guys, to be honest. I'm looking at St Johnstone Motherwell. Can they back up what they've done in the Cup against Motherwell? If they do, I think Mr Kettlewell could come under a little bit more pressure. I think he's already under pressure, to be honest. Aberdeen as well, can they back up what they've done in the Cup? They need a win. Hearts, it's about time they started trying to pull away from that relegation zone, especially with the squad they've got. It's about time their bigger players came to the fore and started turning up. So it's a big day in the Premiership for sure. Few good games. I didn't mention there Ross County and Hibs. Hibs are in a great run. Ross County get knocked out the Cup the last game, so it's a big game for both, but I'm looking forward to today.
Yeah, a big day in the Premiership, a big day across Scottish football, and it's been a big week as well, hasn't it? There was Celtic's win against Young Boys in the Champions League. There was Rangers' late defeat to Manchester United at Old Trafford, and of course the transfer window really hotting up. Brendan Rodgers confirming that it looks as if Kyogo certainly on his way out, Jota on his way in, and more to come, I'm sure, before the deadline. Lots we can talk about. We'll have the open line from 5 o'clock, but before that we will bring you all the action from the top flight and beyond. Let's start to go around the grounds and get a flavour for things. Let's go to, where should we start, shall we? Let's go Tynecastle, Hearts against Kilmarnock. Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's been said about this game by the guys in the studio. Important game for both sides down near the bottom end. It's all getting a bit congested towards the bottom of the Premiership, to be honest with you. Just 5 points between Hibs and 6th and Hearts, who are second bottom. And both these teams find themselves strangely in a mix for the top 6 if they can get a run together. But also if they don't and start losing a few games, then they'll find themselves in the relegation playoffs. Just 1 point between the two of them. Hearts have found a bit of form over the last month, 3 wins and 2 draws in their small unbeaten run, but they're still second bottom despite all of that, and they've got to keep it going today with home advantage. Hearts do have the advantage, of course, of 18,000 plus here every week. They've got a rich benefactor, supporters who put millions into the club every year, and that's helped them bring in 4 players so far in this window to add to an already strong squad in terms of numbers. They really shouldn't be there. I think Ross McCormack is saying that they shouldn't be where they are in the table, second bottom, but they have been near the bottom all season. So now we're getting to the stage where they need to show a bit more on the pitch, but they'll find it difficult against Killie. They've had a good record here at Tynecastle in recent times. In fact, they've only lost 1 of the last 10 visits here. They've won the last 2. And they've also won 2 and drawn 2 of the last 4 meetings between the clubs. But that said, Killie, their away form has been up and down all season. Their last away win in the league was here at Tynecastle in October, a 2-1 win. So Derek McInnes, I think, knows that they have to show better away from home if they're going to climb the table. And in contrast to Hearts, Derek's only been able to bring in 1 player, Calvin Ramsey, on loan. He starts today, his first appearance in a Kilmarnock jersey. So I think an intriguing game ahead. 2 evenly matched teams. I don't think there'll be much between the two of them today. For Hearts, they go with a 4-2-3-1 formation, 2 changes. Out go Vargas and Danda. In come Wilson and Spittle. But the news is that Lauren Shanklin makes a return to the bench. So your usual formation: Craig Gordon's in goals, Grant Forrester, Craig Halkett, Jamie McCart, and James Penrice at the back. 2 in midfield are Benny Beningame and Cammy Devlin. I think Elton Kabangu will play wide with George Grant and Blair Spittle supporting the lone striker James Wilson. The subs for Hearts: Xander Clark, Lauren Shanklin, Alan Forrest, Malachy Boateng, Jan Danda, Lewis Nielsen, Musa Drami, Kenny Vargas and Gerald Taylor. 3 changes for Kilmarnock from the team that lost in the Cup at Celtic Park last week. In come O'Hara, Ramsey, McGuinness. Out go McCrory, of course, has got fractured cheekbone. Donnelly, who's on the bench, and Lyons, who's out injured as well. So 3-4-3 for them. Kieran O'Hara in goals. A back 3: Lewis Mayo, Joe Wright and Robbie Dees. Across the middle, Calvin Ramsey, Liam Polworth, Kyle McGuinness and Corey Ndaba, with Fraser Murray and Bobby Wales either side of Marley Watkins. Aidan Glavin, Hearts linked to Danny Armstrong, David Watson, Gary Mackay-Steven, Bruce Anderson, Liam Donnelly, Ethan Brown, Ben Brannan and Aaron Brown are the Killie subs, and the referee today is experienced John Beaton, and in the VAR also experienced is Andrew Dallas.
Yeah, 2 teams, Hugh, that will feel they need a better second half of the season than they did in the first half of the season, but both already doing business in January that they'll hope will help the cause.
Well, certainly in the case of Neil Critchley at Hearts, for a club of Hearts stature to be second bottom for as long as they have been second bottom is a disgrace. And the new signings have to hit the ground running. They've got the home advantage. There'll be the usual huge crowd, but they have been disillusioned with the Hearts' performances at home this season. He needs the points, but Derek McInnes is too close to the bottom for comfort. He's been beset by injury problems. He's lost Kyle Vassell for a long time, a real blow for him. But Calvin Ramsey comes in today. There's a signing he never thought would happen. Calvin Ramsey at Kilmarnock. Big afternoon for Derek as well. Only a point above Hearts, and therefore if Hearts win and leapfrog Kilmarnock, Derek's problems intensify.
Fraser saying he thinks that'll be a tight one at Tynecastle today. You go along with that?
Yeah. First time in a long time I've agreed with Fraser. I think he's right there. I think he's got that spot on. 2 teams definitely needing a good run into the end of the season. It's been a disappointing season so far for both, especially after the season Kilmarnock and Hearts had last year. You know, to see them down there struggling is a surprise, but they have to start winning games. And with you, I think if Hearts can get a home win today, and maybe Hibs, their nearest rivals, do them a little favour up at Dingwall, they could leapfrog Ross County and Kilmarnock. So it could be a good day for them. But Kilmarnock will be looking for the points, but I think that'll be really tight.
Let's go to Pittodrie next. Aberdeen against St Mirren. Dave Galloway.
Both teams very keen to get going again in the Premiership after last weekend's Scottish Cup wins against lower league opposition. Andrew, Aberdeen haven't won a league match since beating Dundee in November. That's 12 without victory. Jimmy Tilleen insists they're a more stable team now. Well, this afternoon should provide a pretty stern test for that. St Mirren with 4 successive league losses, but they sit just 2 points off the top 6. Their preparations for this game haven't exactly been ideal, as they were unable to train at all yesterday due to the storm and had to travel up here last night after things had calmed down a little bit. Pre-match, incidentally, there'll be a minute's applause for ex-Dons boss Jimmy Calderwood, who passed away 6 days ago following a long battle with dementia. He was manager here for 5 years. Looking at the teams, and Aberdeen make 5 changes. In comes Shinnie, Clarkson, Ockles, Keskinen and Gay. First start for Papi Gay after a long injury layoff. Out go Palaversa, Morris, Polvara, Duke and Ambrose. So it's Ross Doohan in goals. Across the back, Nicky Devlin, Christers Tobers, Slobodan Rubezic and Alexander Jensen. The sitters, Sivert Heltner Nielsen and Graham Shinnie. Then it's Toby Keskinen, Leighton Clarkson and Jeppe Ockles, with Papi Gay leading the line on his first start. As I've mentioned, the subs for the Dons, Ritchie, McKenzie, Nisbet, Duke, Palaversa, Morris, Dorrington, Boyd and Ambrose. Couple of changes to tell you about for St Mirren. In come Taylor and Boyd Muntz. Out drop Iakoviti and Smith. So it's Zach Hemming in goals. A back 3 for the Paisley Saints of Marcus Fraser, Richard Taylor and Alex Gogic. Midfield 5, Calum Penman, Caelan Boyd Muntz, Killian Phillips, Mark O'Hara and Scott Tanzer, with a front 2 of Mikael Mandron and Toyosi Olusanya. The subs for the Buddies are Minsky, Smith, Kilty, Scott, Oseni, John, Kenny, Mooney and Buomono. Your match referee here at sunny but cold Pittodrie, it's Chris Graham, and Greg Aitken is on VAR.
If you go back to the 23rd of November, St Mirren 2, Aberdeen 1. That was Aberdeen's first league defeat of the season. 12 games now winless in the league. They got that win against Éowyn in the Scottish Cup, but the run cannot continue, can it, Ross?
It can't, no. Well, it can actually, but it can't. But no, they've basically been the talk of the season for, the whole season for different reasons now. Great start to the season. I think that coincided with how well Papi Gay was playing. That's a huge lift for him coming back in today. I think a lot of these teams are only as good as their strikers, and I think he's a little bit of a step up of what's been playing recently. So I think they'll have a better performance today with him up front, but also the onus is on Keskinen and Clarkson to get back on it and provide the ammunition. But on the flip side of it, I look at their defence. I remember watching them at Ibrox a couple of weeks ago, and it was pathetic, to be honest with you. Absolute joke. I think Mandron, Olusanya today, they'll be licking their lips, they'll be fancy it. So I don't see much in the game, to be honest. Both of them are struggling, but I don't know, I feel as if Aberdeen might nick it.
These two clubs highlight the odd nature of the Premiership. Aberdeen 12 without a win, still 4th on the table. St Mirren 4 league defeats in a row, 2 points off the top 6. What kind of league's that?
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how that one pans out. Let's go to McDiarmid Park next. St Johnstone against Motherwell. Calum Brown.
Yeah, Andrew, it's a repeat of last week's Scottish Cup tie here at McDiarmid Park, where St Johnstone ran out 1-0 winners against Motherwell. It was a much needed victory too for Simo Valakari's side. That ended a 10-match winless run. However, though, 9 points adrift at the bottom, they'll be hoping that win can instill some confidence going into the remaining 10 matches before the split. As for Motherwell, they sit a lot prettier in 5th, but as Hugh alluded to, have struggled on the road of late. Winless in their last 5 away matches, including last week here, and with 1 goal scored in that run. Bragging rights in the league though against St Johnstone, having won 2 previous meetings in the Premiership this season. On to the team news for St Johnstone. It's one change from the side who beat Motherwell last week. Jack Sanders, linked with a move away, doesn't make the squad, and Max Kucheravi is his replacement. So a little bit struggling at the back, St Johnstone, in terms of central defenders. It's Andy Fisher in goal, a back 4, I believe, of Dre Wright, Sam Curtis, Bozo Mikulic and Barry Douglas. Midfield 4 of Sven Sprangler, Max Kucheravi, Jason Holt and Victor Griffith, with Graham Carey in behind Mackenzie Kirk, who leads the line. The bench For St Johnstone, Ross Sinclair, Andre Raymond, Nicky Clark, Aaron Essel, Adamus Sidibe, Taylor Stephen, Matt Smith, Benjamin Kimpioka and Fran Franjak. And as for Motherwell, well, clearly Stuart Kettlewell saw plenty wrong from the outing here just 7 days ago. So much so that the Motherwell boss has made 6 changes. There's a debut for Ellery Balcombe, who replaces Archie Mayer in goal. Liam Gordon returns to face his former club, and the other 4 changes into the side come Stephen O'Donnell, Tom Sparrow, Harry Payton and Tony Watt. So it's a bit of a conundrum as to whether it will be a back 3 here or a back 4 for Motherwell. I've gone with a back 3 on paper. Ellery Balcombe in goal, a back 3 of Marvin Coletta, Liam Gordon and Shane Blaney. Stephen O'Donnell at right wing back. Andy Halliday perhaps playing at left wing back, although he has played in central midfield for the majority of the season. Tom Sparrow and Harry Payton, as I say, coming into the midfield. A similar front 3, Sam Nicholson and Tawanda Maswanisi still in behind the striker, but Jack Vale is suspended, so in comes Tony Watt to lead the line. On the bench for Motherwell, Matthew Connolly, Kofi Balmer, Davor Zdravkovsky, Dan Casey, John Kutrumbis, Ewan Wilson, Kai Andrews, and 2 new signings. Luke Armstrong announced yesterday and Dominic Thompson just announced within the last 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, 6 changes for Motherwell, which is pretty significant. I know there will be some injuries, new signings coming into that as well, but it does feel like a big day for Stuart Kettlewell, just given what's happened over the last few days.
Do you know the funny thing, Andrew? Motherwell are 9 points better off than they were at this stage last season, and yet Stuart Kettlewell looks like the manager under the greatest pressure in the Premiership, and that's because he's got into a confrontation with his own fans, and internal warfare never ends well. So he has to go there. I think the changes are of a positive nature. Tony Watt will be a pest. Thomas Barrow does well for Motherwell. Stephen O'Donnell, vastly experienced player. Change of goalkeeper as well. They look to be in reasonable shape, but they have to prove it. They have to get, I think, all 3 points today, or come 5 o'clock in this programme, we know where the first phone call will come from.
Yeah, it shows just how big optics are in football, because Hugh mentions just where Motherwell are now compared to where they were last season, but there are a lot of unhappy supporters. A lot of that comes down to criticism of style of play, but Stuart Kettlewell will point to the league table and say, we're 5th. What's the problem?
They tell me it's a results driven business, this game. Well, if you're going by the fact that the Motherwell manager, now remember, the Motherwell manager sitting in 5th place is under pressure, then it's not a results driven business, because you would take that all day long. Look, he's had a lot of bad injuries. I know he's come out fighting. I don't mind that. I know that you've got to watch what you're doing with the supporters. We've seen what happened with Brendan Rodgers and a few weeks ago having a pop as well. Stuart's just one of these guys that he feels that he has to come out there and say it as it is, and there's nothing up with that, but you've just got to be careful with your words, because it puts you on the back foot. It's a big game. I wouldn't like to be in Perth today, I've got to say. I'd rather walk out in the storm again than go to Perth. I don't think we'll get an exciting game up there. Last week Motherwell had 1 shot in target, so if they're going to get anything and bring it down the road, they'll need improving that. I
know one place you're glad you weren't sent today. Dingwall Global Energy Stadium, Ross County against Hibs. Lana Mackay is there.
Yep, Andrew, all good to go in Dingwall today. It's all looking very calm weather-wise at the moment. Lovely and sunny here, and around 900 Hibs fans travelled up to the Highlands today and made that long journey after this morning's pitch inspection scare. County today, well, they'll be keen to bounce back after the disappointment of their Scottish Cup exit to Livingston last weekend. Don Cowie's men currently sit 10th in the league table, and 3 points today would be huge for them as they look to pull away from the relegation zone. Hibs, of course, breezed through to the 5th round last weekend with that comfortable 3-0 win over Clyde Bank. They're unbeaten in 7 league games, 9 games in all competitions, and they're now into the top 6, and they could leapfrog Motherwell and edge closer to Aberdeen in 4th if they get a win here today. The last time the sides met at Easter Road in December, it was a 3-1 win for Hibs, but they have struggled in Dingwall. It ended goalless here in October, and they've only won 1 of their last 5 visits here, so it should be an interesting match-up today. Ross County, their team news, Don Cowie makes 4 changes to his side after their Scottish Cup exit. Out go Lapata, Harmon, Hale and Kenna. He's on loan from Hibs, so he's ineligible to play today. And in come new boys Ashworth and Tompkinson, along with Randall and Chilvers. So it'll be Jordan, Amisa in goal, a back 3 of Akhil Wright, Elijah Campbell and Jonathan Tompkinson. A midfield of James Brown, Josh Nisbet, Connor Randall and Zach Ashworth. And George Robinson, Jordan White and Noah Chilvers up top. Substitutes: Laidlaw, Allardyce, Hale, Phillips, Harmon, Telfer, Smith, McLeod and Reid. 5 changes for David Gray after their Scottish Cup win. Nicky Cadden comes back in on the left wing. He will be wearing a protective mask after breaking his nose in the win over Motherwell. Chris Cadden also comes in on the right. And Nectarios Triantis, Josh Campbell and Dwight Gale also start. Out go Miller, Kwon, Milotnikov, Hoylett and Kuarovic. So Jordan Smith will start in goal for Hibs, Warren O'Hora, Rocky Bashiri and Jack Iredale at the back, Chris Cadden, Nectar Triantis, Dylan Levitt and Nicky Cadden in midfield, Josh Campbell in behind Martin Boyle and Dwight Gale. Substitutes: Bursic, Miller, Kwon, Bowie, Obita, Mariah Welsh, Hoylett, Milotnikov and Kuarovic. The referee is David Dickinson and Matthew McDiarmid is on VAR.
We've also got a featured championship match for you. And Gordon Dalziel, if you were getting up today, you'll look out, it's all 4 seasons in a day, beautiful. Isn't it? So what's the first thing you think you bring with you when you're going out the door?
Any sensible person going to a game of the day wraps up well, right? That's all I'll say. That's advice. Wrap up well, make sure you're nice and warm, because it's cold out there. You've got to be sitting in that wind. You've got to be sitting in a stadium that's very, very old and cold. So the sensible people wrap up. You
surely wouldn't park up outside a football stadium, say Somerset Park, and realise you've left your jacket at home, would you, David Friel?
Not at all. Dazzler, just so you know, I do have my coaching manual with me, but I didn't bring my jacket, unfortunately, Andrew. I got to get out the car and I realised, I texted my wife saying, is my jacket still in the house? She said yes. So I had to hot foot it to a shop, but all's good. Here wrapped up, managed to get a jacket and some breaking team news at Somerset Park. As the guys were saying, this is going to be a big one for both teams, but signing news for Ayr United. They've snapped up Curtis Main from Dundee. He's just left Dundee and he's on the bench for Ayr United today. Scott Brown clearly looking to tool up for a promotion push, and Curtis Main, 32, huge experience, north and south of the border. I think he'll be a really good addition for Ayr, and I think they're having a real go. Scott Brown celebrated his 1 year anniversary in the job this week, and I think they're in a good place. Andrew, 2 points behind Falkirk. What a run they've been on in the last few weeks. They lost to Partick in early December, but since then they've taken 13 points out of 15 in the league. They've kept 4 clean sheets, which is always important in the Championship. I think if you've got a strong defence in this league and you've got good attackers, you can go places. And they also put 8 past Broxburn in the Scottish Cup last week. So, as I said, in a good place on the pitch, off the pitch as well. They announced this week there's going to be a new training facility. Ayr United really getting their house in order. You know, they're clearly dreaming of getting back to the Premiership. That's obviously the aim, but they're also looking after things off the pitch, and that training facility that's about to be built, they've got land behind the stadium. I think that will help take the club forward as well. So Ayr will be favourites today, but Partick Thistle, you know, we saw them a couple of weeks ago against Dunfermline, booed off the pitch, really, really poor. Chris Doolan at that stage was really under some pressure, but they beat Hamilton Accies 2-1 last time out. I think that eased a bit of pressure, and you look at them, you know, I think they will finish in the playoff places. Obviously the fans out there want an automatic promotion push, but a win today would just take them 3 behind Ayr. So look, I don't think all is lost, but another huge game for Partick as well today. I've literally just been handed the Ayr team, so forgive me for not putting it into order, but Harry Stone will be in goals, Nick McAllister, Paddy Redden, Mikey Devlin, Ben Dempsey, George Oakley, Conor McClellan, George Stanger, Jamie Murphy, Jay Henderson and Scott McMahon. Subs for Ayr are Much, Hasty, Mackenzie, Roos, Mitchell, Agbear, Main, Watford and McKinnon. As for Partick Thistle, they'll look as if it's going to be a 3-4-1-2 formation. David Mitchell in goals, back 3 of Luke Macbeth, Lee Ashcroft and Dan O'Reilly, Kyle Turner, Robbie Crawford, Stuart Bannigan, Harry Millen across the middle with Logan Chalmers in behind Brian Graham and Scott Robinson. Subs for Thistle are Cameron, Muirhead, Fitzpatrick, Lawless, Stanway, Ablade, Negla and Falconer.
Yeah, I think that's the old one. If you don't know how to line up a team, you blame it on the coaching manual, don't you? Well, I've just been handed the teams. He had them 5 minutes ago. He's no idea what formation, but you'll have them in a diamond before 3:30.
Well, that is the team news from around the ground. The next part of the show, we'll take a look back at the week's biggest talking points.
There's cars and SUVs, then there's vans and pickups. Looking for expert advice on your next vehicle? Our Toyota and Lexus business team are here to help. Whether it's electric, hybrid, petrol, diesel or hydrogen vehicles, our dedicated team offers comprehensive consultancy for large and small fleets. With our award-winning reliability, recognised by the What Car Awards, we keep your vehicles on the road and your business running smoothly. Search Toyota and Lexus Business to learn more. Lexus, awarded Best for Reliability in the 2023 What Car Awards.
Football, it has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye, right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in row Z. The good news is the Ladbrokes ACCA gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your ACCA. It's a gaffer of an ACCA from Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 of boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
A big day of Premiership action ahead and lots to look forward to in the lower leagues as well. Celtic against Dundee is postponed though. Storm damage to Parkhead. Celtic Park means that game will not go ahead. That'll take place now on Wednesday the 5th of February at 7:45pm. But we do have Hearts against Kilmarnock, St Johnstone, Motherwell, Aberdeen, St Mirren and Ross County Hibs. Our featured championship match today is Ayr United Partick Thistle. But this is the point in the show where we bring in all the guys and have a discussion about the week's biggest talking points. There was of course 2 big European matches, but it is the January transfer window and a lot of talk about outgoings and incomings at Celtic. Kyogo looking to be on his way out, Jota on his way in.
Well, I was telling Ross and Gordon that I was assailed outside of my local supermarket this morning by a man pushing his trolley who demanded to know why Kyogo had been allowed to leave Celtic. He said he was a better player than Henrik Larsson. Well, no, he was not a better player than Henrik Larsson, but he was a really terrific player for Celtic. 85 goals in 165 games tell you how good a player he was for Celtic, and it's a big, big loss. And Celtic will need to get another striker because they're light in that department. However, the return of Jota is a magnificent PR exercise. As Kyogo goes out the exit door, in through the entrance door comes the Portuguese who was adored, and I use the word advisedly, adored by the Celtic supporters when he was there first time around. It is, financially speaking, a ridiculous deal. A player that you sold for £25 million 18 months ago, now coming back for a fraction of that sum. How long will it take him to get up to speed is another matter, because he might as well have been making sandcastles in the desert for all we know, because it's not real football out there anyway. And then he went to Rennes and apparently it wasn't working there. So Jota will need time to get up to speed, but a terrific signing and a PR coup.
Brendan Rodgers was quite pointed a few weeks ago when he was asked about Luis Palma and his situation, and he sort of went off on a tangent about it, and he said if there are players at the club who don't want to be at Celtic, then go. He then revealed yesterday that Kyogo mentioned months ago that he wants to go. Do you feel that deal just had to happen in January now, once Kyogo had said that?
I'm shocked at it. I've got to be honest. You're weakening your squad. Now, I'd be very surprised if the window closed without Celtic adding to the centre forward situation. But you're let your best centre forward go. Right, now you can talk about, well, you're getting 10 million, he's 30 years of age. You could have done that deal in the summer. Now, if Kyogo wants to go, and the one I'm surprised at fact is, it's not like he's going to a big glamour club. You know, he's leaving Celtic to go to Rennes. So I don't know what the thinking is behind Kyogo wanting to go there, but I totally agree with Brendan Rodgers. There's no point having players at your club if they don't want to be there, right? Doesn't matter how good they are. Better players have came and went than Kyogo. He's been brilliant for 3 years. I love the signing of Jota. I think that'll excite the Celtic fans. He'll probably look at Maeda going through the middle as well as an option. He does right now not hitting the ground running. Poor form. Young Kenny's come back on loan, so everybody's looking for him to get his opportunity. But when you've got a chance in Europe, you've won the League Cup, you're very comfortable in the league, you're still in the Scottish Cup, and you let your best centre forward go out the door without having a replacement, I would find that very surprising.
A lot of Celtic fans will be devastated at the fact that Kyogo is leaving, but does Jota's return, does that soften the blow?
Not really, no, because if you look at what Celtic are left with, unless now, as Gordon was saying there, if he's told Celtic a few months ago that he wants to go, I think Celtic have probably quietly been working on a deal to bring someone in. If they haven't, then I'll be scratching my head at that, because there's absolutely no way you can let someone like Kyogo go out the door. What he's done over the last 3 years, especially with this end of the European campaign coming up, they're going to be in at least the playoffs, maybe better, who knows. You cannot let Kyogo go out that door, not for £10 million. That £10 million would still have been there in the summer. If it was me, if I'm Brendan Rodgers, I'm sitting him down and saying, look, if you really want to go, wait till the summer, we'll let you go, we'll have a handshake and you can go then. But yeah, Jota coming in, great signing. Like you said, he was adored by the Celtic fans. I think he's a fantastic player, but as you also said, how long is it going to take to get up to speed?
Would you expect Celtic to be bringing in another striker, David Friel?
Yes, of course, Andrew. I think it has to happen, and Brendan Rodgers actually offered that up yesterday when asked about Jota, and he also said, but I also want a striker. Just to touch on what the guys are saying as well, Andrew, you know, I agree Kyogo will be a huge loss and the timing will surprise people, but I just wonder how long this has been rumbling for. You know, Brendan Rodgers said a few months, he wasn't specific, but if you think back to late July, early August, Kyogo changed his agent back then, and I remember thinking at the time, and it was reported at the time, you think, well, why are you doing that? He wasn't doing that for no reason. I just wonder whether even last summer he was quite keen to leave, and Celtic spoke to him and sat him down and said, look, you need to stay for now. But as Brendan Rodgers said yesterday, you know, the desire to leave then becomes stronger, and I think that's the key part in this whole thing. I think Kyogo wanted to go for whatever reason, whether it's financial, whether it's professional, he wanted a better league. I don't know, only he will be able to say, and I'm sure he'll speak in the next 24 hours. However, it's the player that wanted out, and I think Celtic just felt at his age and for the money, and a player who doesn't want to be there, they just had to let him go. But I would totally agree, they have to bring someone in the next week.
In terms of the actual dealings, Fraser, Wishart, £10 million for Kyogo, and then less than that to bring Jota back in not long after selling him for £25 million. What do you make of it?
It's an amazing deal financially for Celtic. When you mentioned those figures, Andrew, about Jota, 25 million, he goes away, he puts 25 million in his own pocket, 18 months later he comes back for roughly 8 to 10 would be the value of the fee for him. So from that perspective it's great. I agree with what's been said about Jota. You look at the figures, the numbers of games he's played in the last 18 months he left Celtic. He's only played 9 games for Rennes this season, so he's a wee bit away. But they have to replace Kyogo. And it's interesting, you just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Quite often the agents and the player will talk to the club. Now I think Kyogo renewed his contract maybe a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, and the chat then would have been, listen, re-sign for us, don't run your contract down when there's no value to you. If you stay here for a year and a half, then then you have our word, we'll move you on. That, I don't know if that's happened, but that type of thing happens all the time, where the player renews his contract, he extends it to increase the value for the club, and they have a gentleman's agreement that he can go. But I think it's a huge loss for Celtic. I was looking at Matthias Visgarden, you know, his figures, he's a young lad, he's not quite at the same level as Kyogo, he's 22 and he scored 1 and 3 for Brøndby. Kyogo scored 1 and 2 for Celtic as well, so maybe they just thought the league's virtually won, they've qualified for the last stages in Europe, now's the time to do it, because we can bring somebody in, they can bed in, we'll get Jota fitter for next season, because the big ticket things, if you like, from Celtic's point of view are already done. But it certainly weakens the team, and the pressure now is on to the recruitment team to bring in a replacement, because they certainly need somebody in quite quickly.
For me, Brendan Rodgers is far too calm about all of this, and that tells me there's a PR coup in the making here before the 3rd of February when the window closes, and the PR coup will be Jota, followed by Kieran Tierney, followed by probably Visgarden, and Celtic will then be re-energised for the back half of the season. But Brendan Rodgers is too calm. If Kyogo had been sold and there was no replacement on the horizon, then Brendan Rodgers, who the club need more than he needs the club, would be an unhappy man, but for me, he's perfectly calm about the whole thing, and that tells me it's Jota, Tierney, and Biscarden.
We saw the levels Jota hit in his first spell at Celtic Park. Nicholas Kuhn has come on leaps and bounds this season, has been probably Celtic's best player this campaign, probably the best player in the league, many would say, this year. Will that be quite a mouth-watering prospect for Celtic fans, having Jota on one side, Nicholas Kuhn on the other, potentially, if it happens this month, maybe in the summer, Kieran Tierney in behind Jota as well?
I think that's a big thing about Celtic's wingers this season, is the full-backs that they've got behind them. If they can add a Kieran Tierney to that behind Jota, as well as having Alistair Johnson behind Nicholas Kuhn, that is frightening, to be fair. But what it does tell me is if they go and sign this boy from Denmark who scored 1 and 3 goals, he's probably not going to be ready-made to go and fill Kyogo's shoes. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking possibly Maeda is going to play through the middle. Is that a massive step down from Kyogo? Probably in terms of finishing, but work rate, movement, I don't know. But
he's the closest facsimile to Kyogo that they have inside the building.
Yeah, but you've got to look at as much as he's not hitting form, you brought in a £9 million striker. So if he's been brought in as probably number 2 to Kyogo, you can't say surely. I agree with all the lads, right? I think Celtic will have a new centre forward in before the window closes, right? But up until then, if Kyogo's not there, then Ida for me has got to play through the middle, right? Because he's been brought in there to help Kyogo, £9 million, big wages. You can't have Maeda all of a sudden jumping over on top of him going, right, okay, I'm the number 1 striker until we bring somebody else in. Ida's got to be given the opportunity to play there. Listen, I love the signing of Jota, right? I looked here, he's coming up in 26. Now, Ross will tell you, at 26, you're more experienced, you're probably at the peak of your career, kicking on. What are the Celtic fans going to be in for with this guy coming back? Because we've seen the talent before he left. I think he'll be better when he gets up to speed. I think that's a great sign.
I'm not meaning to aim this at you because you're an expert in it, but they always say never go back. Does it come with an extra?
I always went back. It never worked out well for me.
Does it
talk about football or the other one?
I was talking about football generally, not with you. But
okay.
Does it come with a different pressure?
No, I don't think so for him. I think he's that talented. He'll just fit right back into it. He knows the club well. The supporters love him. He's nothing to prove. As I said, okay, he's not played the amount of football at the level he's wanted to play at, but you can tell just talent's there. It's just oozing out of him. I think once he gets back into the playing up to speed under Brendan Rodgers, the way Brendan Rodgers plays with his wingers, I think he'll be brilliant for him.
Well, any thoughts on that or anything else? We will have the open line from 5 o'clock, so make sure to get involved in that. But big games coming up at 3 o'clock. We'll go back around the grounds next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Celtic against Dundee has fallen foul to the weather. Celtic Park not fit for the game due to damage, so that one is postponed. But Hearts against Kilmarnock, St Johnstone, Motherwell, Aberdeen, St Mirren and Ross County Hibs in the Premiership. We've also got a feature championship match in Ayr United Partick Thistle. Let's start going back around the grounds, shall we, and take a look at, let's go to the Global Energy Stadium. Ross County against Hibs, Lana, and two teams who will feel probably in a good place about themselves given recent results.
Yep, Andrew, both teams have been in pretty good form in the league. As we said before, Hibs looking to make it 9 games unbeaten in all competitions, 7 games unbeaten in the league. It's been such a turnaround for them compared to, you think back to a few months ago. Really positive energy around the club now, so it'll be huge for them if they can go within 3 points of the top 4 if they can get a win here today. But Ross County have been in good form themselves. Dingwall's always a tough place to go. 0-0 the last time the sides met here, so it could be a really interesting game. A couple of injury boosts for Hibs as well. Martin Boyle, but he's in good form. But having Nicky Cadden back in, December's Player of the Month. Still got a few players to come back, so it should be really interesting to see how this one goes today. But should be a good game.
Yeah, you just look at Ross County's form, because a lot has been said about David Gray and the way that he's turned Hibs around. Maybe not as much said about Don Cowie. Ross County have maybe gone a bit under the radar, but over the last 5 league games they've got 3 wins, just the 1 defeat. That 1 defeat was to Celtic. Don Cowie will be very happy about the job he's doing there at the moment.
Yeah, and as long as Rocky Bashiri is playing for Hibs today, he's got a real chance. So there's a lesson there for Stuart Kettlewell when he looks at Don Cowie and at David Gray, because they've been there, they've been under real pressure. David Gray was bottom of the league. There was chaos at Easter Road, but both managers have kept calm, and certainly in the case of David Gray, transformation is the only word you can apply to it, because the record is terrific. He's in the top 6 now, and he's looking to cement that top 6 place. So both managers deserve credit, but Don Cowie needs the points more than David Gray does today.
There was quite a bit of talk a few months ago about Martin Boyle and the fact that questions, was he slowing down, was he maybe not the player he used to be? 6 goals in his last 3 games now. He's really finding his best form again.
Yeah, he's banging form, isn't he? It's amazing the confidence goals brings to you. I think everybody looked at Boyle and thought maybe his best days are behind him, Andrew. But that bit of experience, he's obviously maybe tweaked 1 or 2 things, whether it be training, preparation for his game. He looks sharp again. He's getting the goals. He's a real threat. And he's a very important player for Hibs. I think that'll be a decent game today. I'm struggling to call that, because I never can second guess Ross County. 1 week you see them, you think, oh yeah, they're well organised, look good, everything about them got to be difficult to beat. And then the next week you're thinking, I don't see them winning another game. So it'll be a difficult one up there, but difficult to call for me.
In the Championship, David Friel, Ayr United, Partick Thistle, you mentioned that signing just before the teams were released of Curtis Main to Ayr United. Does that feel like a real coup?
Yeah, it feels like Ayr United lost Anton Dowds, Andrew, who was such a big player for them, scoring so many goals. He had a really bad injury, and I think Scott Brown's just been looking for someone to fill that gap, someone with a bit more experience. But George Oakley, big handful, can score goals in this division. If you put Curtis Main next to him as well, especially the players like Jamie Murphy and Jay Henderson and guys like that in the Ayr side, I think that's pretty potent up front for Ayr. So Scott Brown, as I said earlier, he's being backed by the Ayr owners and Graham Matthews, sporting director, and everything, and I do feel it's a good signing. I felt Falkirk, when they signed Eamon Broth, I thought that was quite wise and sensible as well, but I think to get Curtis Main in at this stage of the season is really, really good work from Ayr United.
Yeah, you were saying earlier on, Ross, that you felt that could be really help them in that promotion push.
Yeah, do you know what? I said I see that signing, seeing them over the line. I was when I went back on loan to Motherwell myself, Curtis was there, and I don't know what age he is now. What is he, 30, 31, something like that? But this is a boy who keeps himself. The condition he's in is absolutely incredible. He's a fitness freak. Absolutely no issues whatsoever with his age and is he going to be fit enough or whatever. I think that's a tremendous
When
signing.
you say over the line, do you say leapfrogging Falkirk and win the league?
I think that gets them top of the league, yes.
Bruni, his career in the coaching side of the game has had a faltering start. He went to Aberdeen with Stephen Glass, didn't work out. Went to Fleetwood, didn't work out, got the sack. Started slowly at Ayr United, but he's motoring now, only 2 points behind Falkirk. They've got the tie of the round in the Scottish Cup, Ayr United versus Hibs, his old club. So Scott Brown is doing a tremendous job. All that stuff about him throwing me into Loch Lomond is all in the past now. We must move on.
You'll be down there celebrating with him if he gets that victory in the Championship.
Too near the water. I don't want to go near the water with Bruni.
I'm delighted the way Ayr going. I really hope they get there, and then I left a big shadow down there, and it's been very hard to fill since. So
what was the shadow's name?
Just look at my stats here.
You're saying Ayr United motoring on, or another team that look as if they're motoring on at the moment, Fraser, Wishart, Hearts, because maybe some question marks over Neil Critchley in the early weeks of his tenure, but that's 1 defeat in their last 7 now. Not sure we've got Fraser Wishart. I'll direct that.
He's away down to the Fraser Wishart lounge, isn't he?
I'll direct that question. I'll direct that question to you. Do you feel that Hearts fans are really starting to see what Neil Critchley's trying to do?
Look, they've got a good squad. They've got a big squad. They're moving one or two people about in the January window. It was needed. The most important thing is getting points and getting off that second bottom of the league. They're down there. Okay, St Johnstone never got to catch them, but they do not want to finish in that dreaded 11th playoff place. They've got the quality to move up, and we've been saying it since day one, but it's not happened. You look at Hibs, look at the position they were in. All of a sudden, confidence, a few wins. David Gray tweaked one or two things. Boyle coming back to form. That's what Hearts need just now. They're on a decent run. I expect them to win a tight game today, and I expect them to start climbing up the league, and I think they'll be safe.
I go back to the bizarre nature of the Premiership. If Hearts beat Kilmarnock today, they go on to 27 points, which is the same as Dundee, who are 2 points off the top 6. So that's the importance of a win for Neil Critchley, and all the cards seem to be stacked in his favour.
And then you look at St Johnstone, Calum Brown, and we talk about Hearts winning games, we talk about Ross County winning games. The fact that Hibs have managed to get themselves into the top 6 after being bottom of the table, St Johnstone really need to start picking up victories.
Yeah, absolutely. 9 points adrift at the bottom of the table, just 4 Premiership wins this season. They have struggled of late, but it's not for a lack of trying. Maybe in the past St Johnstone could have been criticised for their lack of goals, but it's 25 scored in 23 games. That's more than Ross County, the same as Hearts and Kilmarnock, just 2 and 3 fewer than St Mirren and their opponents today, Motherwell. But under Valakari, St Johnstone have scored in all but 3 games, failing to score twice against Rangers and once against Celtic. So they're a side that, as I say, under Simo Valakari have been scoring goals. It's just that defence of late that has let them down. It's 47 conceded this season. It's effectively on average 2 per game, and the worst defence by 5 goals. But Simo Valakari speaking earlier in the week, he hopes that can be the springboard. Last weekend's victory against today's opponents, Motherwell, it could give them confidence, and they could go on a little bit of a run with 10 games remaining pre-split.
Yeah, the fact they play the same opponents, that they got that much needed win in the Scottish Cup last weekend, will that give them belief they can do it again today?
100%. And if you look at the stats, and I said it earlier, Motherwell had 1 shot on goals in 90 minutes. So I agree with Cam. I think that scoring goals isn't a problem. They can't keep them out. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they won today, right? I'd not be surprised at all. But overall, I don't think they've got enough in the squad. I don't think defensively they're good enough to stay up, and I think they're guaranteed to be relegated.
Another team that will hope a Scottish Cup victory will help them in their league form is Aberdeen. Dave Galloway, it's about trying to translate what they saw in that game against Éowyn into Premiership form.
Yeah, that's absolutely it, Andrew. This is a big one for Aberdeen. League visits to Hibs and Dundee coming up with a cup tie sandwiched in between, so they really do need to build some momentum. Now, as you mentioned earlier, St Mirren beat the Dons in Paisley. That was back in November. That really triggered the kind of implosion of Jimmy Tilleen's team, and they have a good recent record against today's hosts. 3 league wins out of 4. Interesting comments from Stephen Robinson ahead of this game. He said it's all about who can put a run together in what he calls this crazy league. It's hard to disagree with that. And the Buddies, well, they'll certainly be looking to start another one here this afternoon.
Well, that is all the build up for those 3 o'clock kickoffs. Not long to go, and we'll get those underway next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
4 Premiership games for you today. Hearts against Kilmarnock, St Johnstone Motherwell, Aberdeen against St Mirren and Ross County Hibs. Celtic against Dundee has been postponed though due to stadium damage because of the storm that's been ongoing. That will be replayed, it's been rescheduled I should say, for Wednesday the 5th of February at 7:45. Lots of games down the divisions as well. We've got our featured championship match, which is Ayr United against Partick Thistle. And let's get going for these first halves.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Planning your holiday? Get essential health advice and medication before you travel.
Right, should we get some predictions
Yeah.
from you lot? Let's go for the 4 Premiership games.
Oh no, you got to add in Partick.
We'll get the Championship game as well. Yeah,
Yeah, for the Coltmans here.
Alright, and I'll give you a Hearts home win against Kilmarnock, a draw St Johnstone Motherwell, a home win for Jimmy Tilleen against St Mirren, and an away win for Sir David Gray at Ross County, and Scott Brown to go top of the league tonight. Ayr to beat Partick Thistle.
Ross?
I'll start at Pittodrie, Andrew. I think I'm going to go St Mirren away win. I think Aberdeen's defence is so leaky. I think Hearts will beat Kilmarnock at home. Hibs Ross County, I'll go for a draw. And I fancy Motherwell to get back on the horse away to St Johnstone.
He's fell right into Mark Wilson's shoes. Hasn't a clue. Ayr and Partick, you may as well guess that one as well.
I'm going to go Ayr. I'm going to say it's tight, and Big Curtis will come on and score the winner.
There you go. He's loving Curtis, man, isn't he? That's his new player. Right, you've heard it here first. Right, this is the one. Hearts and Kilmarnock draw. St Johnstone to beat Motherwell. Aberdeen to beat St Mirren. Ross County to beat Hibs. Ayr and Partick Thistle draw.
There we go. There is a 5-minute delay to proceedings between Ayr United and Partick Thistle, just even longer for David Friel to sit there and admire his new jacket.
That put £9.99 from Tesco around the corner.
The turnstiles had issues apparently, so they are down, or had been down, so they're just letting the crowd get in there. I don't think any early action in the first couple of minutes of our games today. £23 is what David Friel said he paid for his new jacket.
I'm not having that. I want to see the receipt. The one thing you do, right, you think about this, you're never wearing it again, so you ain't paying £23.
Is that see in a situation like that where you need to buy an emergency piece of clothing,
Germany,
you either go one of two ways, don't you? You need to just commit to something that you feel you're going to wear all the time and spend good money on it, or you pay for rubbish quality, something you'll never wear again. That's just,
I showed you how to do it over in Germany, right into Primark, German Primark, €3 for everything, right? And I just spent €30, walked out, carrier bag full of stuff, left it over there. That's the way to do it. David Friel would be better leaving that jacket down in Ayrshire.
You know, this was his plan for Germany, Ross. I don't know if Ross knows this, that Gordon's plan to go to Germany for the Euros for 2 weeks, what would have been a minimum of 2 weeks, was just to bring no clothes, buy them all over there, and then just chuck them in the bin at the end of the 2 weeks.
A German Primark, I take it it's still called Primark then.
But you've got to pronounce it. I don't know how you pronounce Primark in Germany. I tell you what, it was fantastic.
It was a good trip, wasn't it? Right, Hugh, let's get this underway.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
First of all, the disclaimer.
oh no, this isn't good.
This is Burns Night, okay? If you're unaware, January 25, Burns Night, the national bard. This question was prepared by a Falkirk fan who is still not over the Scottish Cup elimination at the hands of Wraith Rovers last weekend, and is fearful of Wraith Rovers beating Falkirk again today and Ayr going top of the league. So, in his troubled state of mind, he put a question together which says...
By the way, can you tell Hugh's worried about this?
Yeah. Never mind Hugh, so am I.
Rhyme 5 players with another 5 players, but they must have played in Scottish football. Now he gives an example. Gordon Dalziel, Cammy Bell. That works.
Oh, I like that.
But that's your task. Rhyme 5 players with another 5 players, but they must have played in Scottish football. Off you go now.
Get your answers in at Clyde SSB. You can get creative with it as well, and we'll maybe give some bonus points, shall we, for some of the best ones out there. But remember, it is a race to get on the podium. You need to be there first. We'll get Ross and Gordon Dalziel to write theirs down, and we'll go through them at the end, and we'll get some of the suggestions on Twitter as well. But what about this for a start?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
While Hugh was reading that lengthy disclaimer, Motherwell were awarded a penalty. Up stepped Andy Halliday. 1-0 Motherwell.
Well,
never in doubt. This guy that hasn't got a clue, Gordon, I'm already well underway.
Oh, did you take Motherwell, did you?
Yeah.
Well, there's a great saying in this show, and you'll learn it if you're ever back in. If you're going to lose a goal, lose it early.
Yeah.
It gives you plenty of time to come back for the Super J's.
But Stuart Kettlewell could not have prayed for a better beginning. Now they have to build on it. The Motherwell fans, those who have taken the trouble to go to Perth, will be ecstatic. Simo Valakari, as Ross said earlier on, they've got a quaint approach to defending at St Johnstone. They're a goal down, and it's a magnificent start for Motherwell. They have to improve in that.
Couple of early goals down the divisions. Livingston 1, Hamilton 0. Robbie Muirhead with the goal in that game. Queen of the South 1-0 up against Dumbarton. Adam Brooks scoring for them. Just a bit of extra information on that penalty. Bottom right, sends the keeper the wrong way. No problem for Andy Halliday.
Strange week for penalties, yeah. Arne Engels steps up against young boys, and he's never missed a penalty for Celtic, and then hit a rotten penalty.
You might get a better teaser in the second half. Wraith Rovers 0, Falkirk 1 already. Liam Henderson with the goal. Producer John will be happy about that.
Well, I am struggling to even get one of the ones.
You're finding it impossible just to rhyme two players' names.
I'm going down Smith, Brown, no those boring names that you can surely liven up with somebody else.
Apologies to all the Smiths and
Browns.
Yeah,
exactly. I can't find any. McCormack. No happening for you, mate, is it? You can't even get a rhyme. DLBL.
I'm looking forward to seeing some of the suggestions that come in on Twitter. I'm sure there'll be some creative ones out there, but remember, it needs to be 5 rhyming names.
Yep.
And they need to be all from Scottish football and all in the one tweet.
Not Scottish players necessarily, but that play in Scottish football. Maybe if you can rhyme Dyson Maida with somebody else.
Who? I'm going through the lot here.
I know.
Keevins, Trevin, Stevens.
But
you get away with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but it's an example of something that works. But we'll try players. We'll go for players, just players.
Anyway, leave it to the great public.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hearts 1, Kilmarnock 0, and it's one of the new signings. Elton Kabangu gets himself on the score sheet, and it's a good start for Neil Critchley's men.
Well, got a couple against Brecon, didn't he? And he's started off extremely well, and that's Derek McInnes under pressure straight away.
Yeah, good start for Hearts from 6 yards out.
Yeah, good start. They needed that. As I said, with the squad and the changes in the January window, 1 or 2 players leaving as well, I'm expecting a big second half of the season for Hearts. I really am.
Yeah, a pretty scrappy goal in the end, but when you're a new signing, that is exactly what you want, isn't it?
2 games, 3 goals. He's a hero. If he touches that mic again, in 14 years he's been here.
Who?
Was that you?
I never touched the mic.
It was definitely you.
Oh, it's you. I've seen you.
My hands have not been near that mic.
Ross, don't touch it, mate.
Must have been.
It is always Gordon Dalziel. If there's any noise around the microphones,
I usually do, but I'm
it's
not
always
guilty.
Gordon Dalziel. He's always touching the mic. He's scrumpling up paper next to microphones.
It's his new interest in Buddhism. That's what's caused it all.
Yeah. Chris Kane, Steve McLean.
Oh, well, there you are.
There we go. We're getting, and I tell you what a start to the day we're having.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It comes at Pittodrie. Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 1, Toyosi Olasanya. It was a really bad blunder by Rubizic. Let Olasanya in to tap the ball in.
If ever a man owed his manager a favour, it was Slobodan Rubizic, who was sent off at Motherwell for the fiasco with Tony Watt. And at the time, Jimmy Tillene spoke about emotional control, which the player, clearly lacked that day. And right away, another boob on his return to the side. So Jimmy Tillene can't go on not winning league matches. 12 without a win, and in his 13th, he's already a goal down. You don't go on losing league matches.
Yeah, just made a total hash of clearing the ball. Rubizic falls to Olasanya, who did the job, and that will be music to the ears of the St Mirren supporters. So just going through a weird period at the moment, St Mirren, where they seem to be losing 2 games, winning 3, losing 3, winning just keeps on.
But the full, Hugh touched on it earlier, the full leagues like that. See if you look from, I think it's 6th all the way down to 11th, there's 5 points.
Yeah.
2 games and you can turn that right round. You look at Hibs, but St Mirren are capable of beating MD. But outside probably Celtic Park and Rangers at Ibrox, they struggle. But they've got good they've got good players, good team. But Aberdeen, what is happening in Granite City? What is happening up there?
I can't wait to see Aberdeen play Hibs so that I can see Slobodan Rubišić and Rocky Bashiri on the same park.
I mean, the last time the two played each other? Was the time before that the 3-3 game that essentially is the one that's completely the butterfly effect from that game of Hibs now marching their way into the top 6, Aberdeen not winning a league game in that time. It's quite incredible when you look back at the crazy end to that game and what's followed.
Well, that was the turning of the corner for David Gray and Hibs, and it was Rocky Bashiri, to be fair to the man, who got the goal that made it 3-3, and Hibs have not looked back since that night. But I repeat, Jimmy Tilleen, for all that he was a sensation at the start of the season, that's all gone, forgotten about, in the past, over the horizon. He's now toiling badly.
A few moments ago there was a VAR check for a potential penalty for Kilmarnock for handball. It was a Bobby Wales cross. Halkett slid in, but the decision is no penalty. But Craig Halkett actually picked up an injury while that happened. Lewis Nielsen is going to come on to replace him.
He's had a poor run of injuries, hasn't he?
Yeah,
in his career. I feel for a lad, decent player, good centre back, but he just can't stay injury free.
Yeah, Lewis Nielsen recently recalled from a loan spell too, so he's got his chance to impress under Neil Critchley.
Well, I mean, it all seems to be going nicely for Neil Critchley. When Brecon went a goal up in the Scottish Cup tie, there was a sharp intake of breath, but they scored 4 that night, and they're doing very well here. It had to turn. I mean, a club of Hearts size, the tremendous support they get at Tynecastle, you can't be second bottom of the table.
So that's around 12-13 minutes into today's Premiership games. The only one that doesn't have a goal so far, Ross County Hibs. That one was in doubt as well. It was a 9:45am pitch inspection. You do remember what the pitch was like up there a couple of weeks ago when Celtic went there. It was frost covered before the match started. The players then went out to train on it. It was quite clear afterwards that it was really cutting up badly.
Ironically, Kyogo Furuhashi's best game of the season for Celtic that day.
Scored 2 good goals,
yeah.
2 very good goals indeed. But delighted these games are on. And you said we're off to a good start, plenty of goals so far, and I think we'll get plenty more. I think it'll be an open day. Your finger will be sore on that button. That's my prediction.
Good. I hope we get some more goals, plenty more goals today.
What rhymes with all lasagna?
Lasagna. All lasagna. Vegetarian lasagna. No idea. I've been really struggling with that. John really has some imagination because it's Burns night, isn't it?
Oh, we're just completely giving up on the illusion that Hugh makes these teasers up now, aren't we?
Yeah. Well,
I don't think
if anyone else out there still believed it, then it's more fool you, really. But
first thing you do when you get one like that is hold it up to the light and say, nothing to do with me, mate.
Just wash your hands of any responsibility.
Alan Hutton, Chris Sutton.
There we go.
That was mine.
No, it wasn't, mate.
I didn't write it down.
You've not got the copyright.
I was waiting on my turn.
Yeah.
I think we put out a plea on Twitter this week ahead of Burns night just to get some poems written about the pundits from some of the listeners. So I've been handed a big pamphlet essentially of some of the best ones, but I feel like I'm going to have to do some editing in my head while I read them just to make sure.
I think you'll need to be very careful with reading some. I've had a little look at some of them.
I've got one for you here.
Go.
Scotty Allen, Stevie Mallon.
There we go.
Oh, well done.
Should we try one of these? This one was sent in by Stuart, and it's: Old Shug makes predictions that never come true. Halliday looks through the lens of blue. Marvin and Wilson play it for laughs, whilst DL on a Wednesday sits in the bath. Simon and Roger stick to the facts as Gordon stops them all from getting the sack. I quite like that. That's good, isn't it?
I'll give that.
Nice and clean as well, apart from the image of you sitting in the bath, which is not great. But
Wednesday's bath night, mate. just to let you know you're new to the show. So if you're ever on a Wednesday, have imagination. 6 o'clock, I'm in the plunge. Soapy
it's not
bubbles.
Something I want to. It's not something I want to imagine.
Now any Wednesday you're on now, you're just going to be
soapy
completely
bubbles
distracted.
And candles. Listen to the boys entertaining me.
With every detail, it gets worse somehow.
Well, you know, now that he's into Buddhism and he's there with the candles, he's turning into Dalai Lama.
I know we need to do our weekly check-in. How are your New Year's resolutions going?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I was at the gym this morning again. Spoke to Ross. Unfortunately, it wasn't him. I was up high five.
Tell this story because you.
Well, I knew Ross was on the show this afternoon because Wilson's away lording it in Edinburgh as per normal. So I went to the gym in Hamilton, David Lloyd's, and as I walked in, I seen Ross on the machine. I thought, like myself, likes to do a little bit, keep his cell working out, but after seeing him sitting next to me, I know he's not. I went over, I gave him the high five, how you doing, having a chat with him. Really great that you're on the show this afternoon. And I realised that it wasn't him, it was somebody completely.
See, there's two things wrong with that. You should have known that it wasn't me in the gym. And also I don't understand why Brad Pitt would be in Hamilton.
Oh, I'm not kidding. I thought I had seen him at the vending machine, but unfortunately he was on a cross trainer. I'd like to apologise to that gentleman.
Did the guy look really perplexed when you said something about the show today, or did he just play it off?
He was right in. He was giving me high fives, and I'm saying, "Oh, you're doing well and all that. Carry on." Listen, it's great that you're in. Wilson's away. What time you heading in? And he's gone, heading in where? I says, to the show. And then I realised, that's not Ross McCormack, is it?
There is a chance that man is out there listening, and if he is, please get in touch. And if you are, I want a photo, a selfie of this man sent to see if he looks anything like Ross McCormack, because I bet he looks nothing like Ross.
See, now looking at Ross, this guy was a wee fatty guy with a beard, right? A complete double of him. And I thought, when Aston Villa strip on, that's what gave it away.
Definitely not me. No chance.
Oh, it was a bit embarrassing, I've got to say. I'd like to apologise to him.
You were only wanting a lift in as well, weren't you?
Exactly. Oh, God. Can't take me anywhere now.
It's one of those things you just think about for a long time afterwards. You're like, it just pops into your head every so often. You're like, oh my dude.
I just arrived and I'm thinking to myself, Dan, exit the gym now, just because I did feel a wee bit embarrassed.
Livingston 2, Hamilton 0. A good start for David Martindale's side. Christian Montano with a goal on 16 minutes to double their lead.
They're an outside bet as well.
Yeah, nobody's talking about them, Hugh.
They fly under the radar all the time.
Been strengthening as well. They've made a couple of January signings, a couple of loan signings. Robbie Fraser from Rangers, Macaulay Tate from Hearts has joined them as well.
A good cup win last week at Dingwall. And a good draw as well. Was it Hamilton or Airdrie? Was it Hamilton? Airdrie? Hamilton.
Who they beat in the cup?
No, who they're getting.
Good question.
It's Hamilton or Airdrie at home? One or two.
Double check.
Or maybe just both.
There was a shot a few moments ago from Pat Gay, 6 yards out. Brilliant save from Zach Hemming. They'll be really hoping that he can find the form that he had at the start of the season after his injury.
Yeah, he was part of the proper Aberdeen at the start of the season, but then he went out and Aberdeen collapsed. So now that he's back, it's a case of how long it takes him to get up to speed. But you know, they're a goal down, it can't go on.
So not only is Gordon Dalziel, I'm now moving on back to what we were on before. Not only is Gordon Dalziel not good at spotting faces in the gym, he's got absolutely no memory of the Scottish Cup draw and anything like that. Because what were the suggestions you said that Livingston were playing? Airdrie or Hamilton?
Yeah,
Cove Rangers.
Yeah, I knew it was one of these teams.
The Dalai Lama needs to have a word with you.
I'm not having a good day. Well, Cove Rangers, so you would imagine that they're going to be favourites for that as well. So doing very well. I think that obviously, and Partick are trying to keep in there. They need a result this afternoon. It'll be difficult down there, but they need a result, keep them going. And obviously Falkirk leading up at Mull Team Wraith Rovers. So it's an exciting championship. I know we always highlight the Premier League, but I think the lower leagues are very good indeed.
Top three, Falkirk, Ayr, Livy, separated by 4 points. Therefore, it's impossible to say with any certainty which one will win the title.
Yeah, there was a later kick-off in the Championship as well. Airdrie against Dunfermline was delayed slightly. I think maybe kicked off 15 minutes after the rest of the games, because I actually was sent a photo of the ground. It was just about an hour before kick-off, and it was lovely blue skies. The pitch was clear, and 10 minutes later, snow covering the whole pitch. Didn't even look as if it was going to be playable for a while, but I think they had to get volunteers involved to get on the pitch, shovel it off, and good to go. But Airdrie, another team that really need a win in that Championship.
Well, it's incredible. They had a great result last weekend. They beat Dumbarton 5-1 away, but the season has largely been a write-off for Rhys McCabe and the Airdrie players.
If they lose today, right, Dunfermline get another 3 points, you would comfortably say that's them gone. As early as this, I don't see any way back. That would leave them 15 points behind Hamilton Accies, and if Hamilton don't pick up anything, 15 points, you can't bring that back when you can't win a game. It's an incredible season. What a turnaround for Airdrie. You know, this was a manager that every job that was coming up he was getting linked with because of the situation where the job he was doing there, and rightly so. Young manager doing very, very well. I don't know what's happened to him. Absolutely just fell for the sky.
By the way, I got to admit, my heart sank there when you said you've got a picture. I thought it was that guy from the gym.
We need that photo. Whoever you are out there that was mistaken for Ross McCormack in the gym by Gordon Dalziel, please get in touch on Twitter at Clyde SSB. Send us a photo of your face. I need to see if there is any remote similarity there.
Has anybody rhymed anybody with anybody?
Oh, we've got loads. We've got loads coming in on Twitter. I'll tell you what, we'll go through the winning ones later on. One of the more creative ones that just came through. You know what? I said get creative doesn't necessarily have to be. I think to win, maybe it does just need to be the players' names. But Richard Mackay has tweeted in saying, Wilson's Brecon Traki Kyogo Furuhashi. That's quite good, isn't it?
It's okay.
Bit of thought into that.
Multi-syllable ones as well. I like that. That's good.
Monosyllabic, as Gordon would call
it.
So
I take it you're just voting for the best one, because you're not having a podium. Because how many did you ask for?
5. So it's just the
We've
quickest.
gave you 4?
The quickest to get 5.
We've given them 4, haven't we, Ross? You gave them a big one. That one, that's singular.
Yeah, I think we got 4 or 5, we're not?
Well, I've given you Kyle, Sutton and Hutton,
and that's it.
Really creative, that one, isn't it?
Scott,
just
Scott
to look
Allen,
at his
Stevie
face
Malin.
now to try and think of another one.
Facel, Kyle. Who's the boy Kyle? Derek Kyle? No, it's Lyle, isn't it?
Kevin
Derek
Kyle.
Lyle. Facel.
Kevin Kyle, Derek Lyle.
There you go. There's another one.
There we go. Alloa 0, Inverness 1, Keith Bray on the score sheet. Let's see, Alloa 1, Inverness 0. Alloa 0, Inverness 1. That's what I meant to say.
Well,
Keith Bray
Inverness
with the goal.
Fighting all sorts of problems, points deduction, but they're hanging in there. All credit to them.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's a goal in our featured Championship game, and it's for Ayr United. It is George Oakley, a bullet header from a Maclean cross. Really good header, that one, and Ayr United have the lead. And as it stands, wouldn't leapfrog Falkirk because Falkirk are ahead, but it means that it's tight at the top.
And that's all that Scott Brown can ask for, just to keep the pressure on Falkirk, match whatever they're doing, hopefully surpass what they're doing at some stage of the afternoon. But as I say, first class job being done there.
He's a big player for him, isn't he, Oakley? He can find the back of the net. It'll be interesting to see if Scott Brown's got in his head that he's going to pair Oakley and Curtis together.
My mate.
Yep, that's sure. That would be a real 2 in the Championship to have to deal with your defenders, and they're off to a great start. So
13 goals for the season now.
And there'll be a big crowd down there, because when I was doing so well, we used to attract a lot of people. It wasn't
always loops back round.
Yeah.
Well, I only tell it it's sort of all went to pieces when I left, but I'm glad that Scott's doing a terrific job, and it'd be great to see Ayr United up in the Premier League. It really would.
The return of the Ayr Killy derby, that'd be one to savour.
Yeah, managed 4 of them, never lost a goal. I'm not bringing that up by any matter of
I wish I hadn't.
The only game we don't have a goal from in the Premiership so far, Ross County against Hibs. Apparently the pitch is really bad. Really bad though. I mean, there was talk it could have been postponed this morning. It passed a pitch inspection. It is just going to continue to cut up, and it's not looking great.
Well, you know, you go back to that day when Celtic played there. It was a terrific match. Ross County didn't drop out of it until late on. But Celtic, first half in particular, were sensational, zipping the ball along on what looked like a ploughed field. But we've had a terrible storm. The fact that we've got football anywhere at all is a minor miracle. So you wouldn't pick on players under those circumstances, but maybe that partly explains why there are no goals there. The only game.
I wonder if we've got any Rangers fans listening in from Manchester that haven't managed to make their way back up the road yet.
That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? I'd have loved that. Getting stuck in Manchester for another night like you did. You must have went to a few of my old haunts. Are they still there?
Oh no, early night for me, of course. I was obviously there covering the game on Thursday night. Couldn't get back up the road yesterday, had to stay an extra night, but up early to be here for the show. So no funny business last night.
All expenses paid, wasn't it?
Brilliant, mate. Yeah. Manchester, you can't beat Manchester. It's lovely.
Queen's Park 1, Morton 0. Zach Rudden with the goal.
Poor old Morton.
Calum Davidson's side.
The old shed at Capello just about away because of the storm. Famous old building in Scottish football.
Yeah, pretty bad the damage to that. I'll be glad they weren't playing or scheduled to play at home this week.
Well, that's it.
Who'd they got actually? Who did you say that?
Queen's Park.
Queen's Park.
It's always good to speak into the microphone instead of turning and facing the other direction.
Obviously the fixtures are behind us. I couldn't see there, so I had to turn round and have a quick look. But that's a good start for Morton. They need a few points to get up that league. They were sort of a stop-start season, weren't they?
Yeah.
You know, but they'll always be safe, especially when Airdrie and Dunfermline are in the league.
You say that as well. The difference between Airdrie and Dunfermline too is 13 points. That's how far behind Airdrie are, and of course they have the chance to get that down to 10 today if they can beat Dunfermline, but they don't really look like beating anyone at the moment. I know they beat Dumbarton in the Scottish Cup, but in the league it's been a long time. I think you need to go back to 3rd of August since last league win.
I'd like to know this, right? I find this strange, and I'm not here to say that it should happen. You've played 20 league games and you've won 1. I don't know any other manager in the history of football would survive it.
Where do you think that comes from? Is it the credit in the bank that Rhys McCabe has had since he came into the club? Of course, got them promoted from League One into the Championship, got close to making them a Premiership side, but I suppose how long does that credit last?
Well, they're going to be in another division. They're going to be in the League One next season. That, as the Dazzler said, that you can't fight those figures. Those are the figures of doom. You're down. So either they believe that Rhys McCabe has it in him to bring them back up,
because he's shown that already previously,
or they simply have no finance available to change things about.
Well, we do have a big chance at that terrible pitch up in Dingwall, because there was a VAR check for a Ross County penalty for handball, and it's been given, so they will have the chance to take the lead over Hibs from the spot.
Now who takes it? Is Jordan White playing?
Vale.
Ronan Hale, yeah.
Vale and Hale, there you go.
Vale and Hale, yeah. White and... I'll leave that one up to you. I'll let you finish that one.
I'll tell you what, we've had a good few of those coming through on Twitter as well, ones that will not be getting read out. Jordan White is on the pitch. He's potentially the one going to take it. We will hear from Lana, who it's going to be to step up and see if they can do it. And just as we were talking about Airdrie 1, Dunfermline 0. They've taken the lead.
That's my nap today, Ross County. I said it.
Yeah,
that's who I went for.
See if they can win that though and win their game in hand, it brings it down to 7. It gives them a half decent chance, doesn't it? But
yeah, they've got to win today. If they don't win today, they're gone.
Done.
Goal from Lewis McGrattan it was to get them a crucial lead in that game. We'll see if they're able to hold on to it. Jordan White steps up to take the penalty. Saved.
Oh, definitely a rhyme now.
He went bottom right and Smith made the save, so it stays 0-0 in Dingwall. Big chance missed.
How did you enjoy, both of you? Did you enjoy taking penalties?
Loved it. Yeah, I was actually going to see when we get told about Andy Halliday taking the penalty. Fair enough, he scored. Well done, Andy. But it doesn't sit right with me when you've got strikers on the pitch. For me, strikers you don't get a better chance to score a goal. Grab the ball and take the penalty.
There was a big thing, I mean, in the League Cup final, wasn't there? The talk of Cyril Dessers not taking a penalty for Rangers. The fact that Jack Butland and Ridvan Yilmaz stepped up ahead of him.
Well,
would you always want to see your strikers taking a penalty? Is that?
Well, someone who scored 26 goals the season before, I'd be looking at him to take a penalty. But you don't know what's happened in training the days leading up to it. They could have been practising. He might have missed 3 out of 3 and he wasn't confident. Anything could have happened.
It's all about on the day, isn't it? It's all about on the day, how you feel. Some people are not, and I was one of them. See a dead ball, I wasn't a great kicker of a dead ball, right? I know that surprises you, Andrew, but I wasn't. But I always took the penalty kicks because, like Ross said, it was my responsibility. I was the top goal scorer year in, year out, and I had to take that responsibility.
What was your conversion rate like?
I only missed one against Aberdeen. Theo Snelder's, how he got to even to this day there's a statue up there behind the goals. It was the best save I've ever seen
in your whole career. One miss.
Yeah, mate.
How many do you reckon you took?
2.
1. I don't know. I have no idea.
Do you recall George Grant missing the penalty at Pittodrie a few weeks ago? Now, I said missed the penalty. Ross Doohan made a terrific save when there are 2 people involved, and the goalkeeper made a sensational save. So maybe it's a bit too much of a cliche that the striker will automatically take the penalties. Arne Engels took Celtic's penalty on Wednesday. Nicholas Kuhn was on the park. Daisen Maeda was on the park. Kyogo Furuhashi was on the park. But Arne Engels took the penalty because it's his job. But for once, the one and only time in a Celtic jersey, he made a bad job of it.
Aberdeen not having a great time of it today. There was that Rubizic mistake that led to St Mirren's opener, and fans getting a bit restless whenever St Mirren are attacking because Aberdeen looking nervous at the back.
Well, one day the dam bursts. You know, Jimmy Tillene was this Swedish god in their eyes at the start of the season. He was going to win the league or split the old firm. That was the talk. But one day the dam bursts, because if you go, this game is the 13th league game without a win potentially, and at that point the fans just say, hold on, I've had enough, what's going on here?
Are they still getting full houses? Are the support still behind them, backing them?
Oh yeah.
You know, at the start of the season was brilliant for the Dons, wasn't it? It was really, really refreshing. You wanted teams up there, and Dundee United are one of them as well. They've got a big game obviously at home tomorrow against Rangers, but you wanted teams up there challenging Rangers and Celtic. Never thought they would split the teams, but it was a great start. It was a fairy tale. I didn't think they was going to last, but I certainly didn't think it was going to be the fall from grace it is. It's incredible just now.
It is, because for the start of the season to go the way it did for Aberdeen, so much had to fall into place and so much had to go right. But then now the opposite, so much has had to go wrong for them for this run to keep on continuing.
But if you fine comb over the games at the start of the season, they were involved in a lot of games that could have went either way. Now, fair play, they got the wins and what have you, scored late on and stuff. Now it's going the other way. It's going to take I don't know what it's going to take to stop this slide, but I tell you what, if you look at it today, if St Mirren get a second goal, that place could turn toxic.
I think you're right. As I say, there just comes a day when the fans have had enough and say, well, you looked to have the potential to be a real Aberdeen manager, but this has gone badly wrong.
But certainly I know that I keep saying it, results driven business, which was no longer applies in football for me. But you would not consider tracking the manager just now. Absolutely no chance. I don't think that would happen.
There is a potential. I think McCart is headed in a Penrice free kick. Given his offside, VAR will check that to see whether Hearts have a second goal against Kilmarnock or not.
Oh, was that the boxing with his dad the other night, Chris? So
yeah, still waiting to see whether that goal is going to count or not. It was a good deep free kick that was headed in off the post. Still waiting. It's been a long time, that one. There's a good point there made by Fraser Wishart on Aberdeen, that when you look at no goal, by the way, stays 1-0 to Hearts over Kilmarnock, that when you look at Aberdeen's signings in this window, 4 players from Scandinavia, the signings are being made to fit Jimmy Tillene's style and what he wants to do. So even if results continue to go badly, he's being backed currently by the Aberdeen board, that they're clearly would not be thinking of doing anything anytime soon.
Well, you know, Ange Postecoglou was a great example. Came here from a Japanese club and said, you know what, I'll bring you 3 players from Japan. And we know what happened next. Hatate, Kyogo, Maeda. So I don't blame him for going with the environment that he knows, the environment he came from. But in return, they have got to be worth the money.
Ayr United pushing for a second. Murphy with a good chance. Brilliant Henderson pass put him through, but that one goes over the bar at Somerset Park.
You're just watching the Hearts Kilmarnock game there. That's very tight, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think all the games have been quite tight today so far. We've seen, a lot of it'll be interesting to see exactly how each one of them pan out, but Hearts against Kilmarnock is one especially where both teams, we mentioned it earlier on, will be so desperate to make sure that this second half of the season, because they've proven as well what they're capable of at times, just maybe not in longer spells.
Yeah, I mean, we have 5 major football clubs, historically speaking, in this country: Celtic, Rangers, Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen. And Aberdeen toiling, Hearts second bottom, Hibs were bottom. You know, we're looking for those clubs to uphold tradition here. Hibs might get back out of the trouble they're in at Dingwall at the moment, but Hearts are a goal up. Unfortunate not to be 2 up, and this is a big day for them.
Yeah, a big week of European action as well, wasn't it? Exciting games, the 2 of them.
Yeah, very unlucky Rangers at Old Trafford. Cyril Desser's goal was truly exceptional. He gets so much stick from the Rangers fans, but that was, if any Premier League goal scorer in England had got that kind of goal at Old Trafford, you'd be saying, what a player he is.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
We mentioned them earlier. Slobodan Rubezic with a mistake that led to a St Mirren goal. Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 2. Another Rubezic error, and it's Mandron this time that benefits, and it is not looking good for Jimmy Tillene's side at all.
I'll tell you the observation I'd make on that. He's such a bad player. It's your fault for picking him.
Yeah, it doesn't read well, does it, for Aberdeen? You're right, Ross. I think the Aberdeen fans will start getting a bit restless. They need to get a goal quickly. They need to get something before half time, get themselves back in this game, especially when you're at home and you're giving up goals like that. It's not acceptable. You can't keep just losing every single game. I'm not in the camp where I think they would do anything drastic, Aberdeen, because I think we've touched on it. They're back to manager. They've let them bring in players. They've spent a bit of money. They'll give them that bit of time. But if you're an Aberdeen supporter, I don't think you're accepting that just now.
You do wonder if that's maybe getting close to first half substitute territory. If you've got 2 errors leading to goals, it must be on the mind of a manager. It's never a nice thing to do, of course.
No, but certainly leaving him inside when the teams come out for the second half must be an option. Jimmy Tillene is in trouble, and he's picked a player who is a bomb scare, as they say, and it's gone off twice now. And the scoreline, it's not a result yet, but the scoreline is a shocking one for Aberdeen.
Stenhousemuir 0, Cove Rangers 3. Finlay Marshall getting the third of those. That's a really good first half for them.
Certainly is. Gives them a bit of confidence going into that big Scottish Cup game against Livingston away from home. But we were touching on midweek here, talking about Celtic and Rangers and Dessers. I've told you since day one, there's a player in there. He's a goal scorer. He'll score goals. I know that he comes in for a lot of criticism, but I thought his touch and his finish at Old Trafford was sublime. I really did. The biggest problem with Rangers, and I've said it from day one, the left back, who I have grown to think he is a real good player, the young lad Jeffrey, he cannot defend. He cannot defend. He's no idea where he is positional wise. We've seen it before. We even witnessed it at Hampden with Andy Halliday. He's running away, he can't defend. Going forward, I think the boy's sensational. I really do. I think he's great up and down that left hand side. It was a sickener for them. And then you go to Wednesday night with Celtic. Tuesday night, wasn't it? Wednesday. I'm all over the place here. The two big moments for me. Hatate's ball is unbelievable. I think he's the only guy in the park can play that. And Schmeichel's first save is incredible.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Ayr United 2, Partick Thistle 0. It's a header again, lovely guided header this one from George Oakley. Second time this game, a good cross from Jay Henderson. So they have a 2-0 lead over Partick Thistle.
I said it, he's a big player for him. I think, was he not injured during the season? And I think Ayr were sort of dropped him off it a little bit. He's been a big player for him. He's been a good side. He'll score a lot of goals in that championship. And I think the addition of Curtis Main, and if Scott Brown decides to go with that attacking two up top, which I think you can afford to do in the championship, I don't think you need to just play one through the middle. I think if you play two up top, you can go and really hurt teams, especially with the quality that Ayr have got at their disposal.
Bad injury that one, wasn't it? He's played every league game this season.
Has he?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he has. It's his 22nd championship game of the season. Yep.
I'm sure he had the flu. I'm checking that, Andrew. I don't agree with that.
I did just check it.
Get my stats out here. I'm not having that.
He's played every single league game this season.
Get the Tesco coat man on this. He'll tell us.
Partick Thistle need to be careful. You know, they are in the playoff place, but Queen's Park, who are in front this afternoon, they could be by 5 o'clock tonight just 3 points away from Partick Thistle. So Thistle need to make sure that they maintain fourth position, and right now it's under threat.
Don't worry, David Frail's got your back. He's saying it's actually 30 in all competitions Oakley's played, not just the 22 in the league.
Who am I thinking of?
Anton Dowds, you're thinking
Dowds,
of.
yeah.
Who's out for the season.
Sorry.
That substitution has happened. Slobodan Rubezic substituted off straight down the tunnel, and on comes Alfie Dorrington on loan from Tottenham.
That's all the player needs to know. It's all the manager needs to know. He's hopeless. Hook him. And the player.
I think you're a bit late. I think the horses are bolted.
Yeah, but as I said, it's the manager's fault for picking him.
How do you feel about that? Players getting substituted and going straight down the tunnel. I find it a little bit disrespectful.
But the embarrassment level, though, Ross, you've been subbed first half.
I'm not too sure that he was going to go over and give the fans a round of applause and kiss a badge. I don't think that was happening. I'd be right down the tunnel, shored. I'd be out the stadium in my car before half-time whistle blew.
Well, Ross County had a penalty saved, but we do have one of these in Dingwall now.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Ross County 0, Hibs 1. It's Dylan Levitt that puts the visitors ahead.
See?
And it could be another win potentially for David Gray, moving them. Could they move up the table today? They could do. They could move ahead of Motherwell if things go their way, but Motherwell do have the lead in their game against St Johnstone.
Dylan, don't think twice, it's alright.
I'm not having a good day. My naps are missed a penalty and now lost a goal. I still fancy Ross County to come back in that, but we're getting goals, we're getting excitement, and it'll be interesting to see how the league table looks tonight when the game's finished around about 5:30. So it'll be interesting to see where Hearts are, where Ross County are, Kilmarnock and Mirren, obviously all desperate for points down that bottom of the table.
Your Seagulls behind Hugh 1-0 down to Everton.
I know.
At the Seagulls,
at the Amex,
the David Moyes factor. What about Charlie Adam coming in as set play coach? Where is that one? Tell me about that.
Not having it? Why not?
He's had 2 set plays in his life. Was he a set play coach? Is that just a made up?
But he used to. Taking corners and free kicks doesn't necessarily mean you'd be a good set piece coach, but it probably helps to some extent, doesn't it?
Well, Austin McPhee didn't play football to a high level at all, but he's a set piece guy at Aston Villa.
Arsenal have their man as well. Is it Jover? Is his surname? He's the one that you always see whenever Arsenal get a corner that goes to the edge of the technical area, and he's trying to orchestrate it all. And they are good at set pieces, in fairness.
I'm the turn the telly over in the dressing room coach. That's what I am. What side do you want, Gaffer? Put on Sky Sports 1. There you go. I'm telling you now, see football, I'm not caring what anybody's. They're making titles up.
How many coaches did you have when you were a manager?
I had 2 underneath me, and then my reserve team coach.
Shows you set pieces these days are a massive part of the game, aren't they? For clubs to go and invest in set piece coaches as well, it's telling you exactly the way it's going. What is it? 34-35% of goals that are scored are set pieces.
Don't get me wrong, if somebody walks in here today for the Premier League and says, Dazzler, I want you to be my set piece coach, I'm out of here. I'm telling you, I'm out.
Hugh, should we wrap this up?
Okay.
The first half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I asked you to rhyme 5 players with another 5 players, but they must have played in Scottish football. For example, Gordon Dalziel, Cammy Bell. We are, of course, honouring Robert Burns, the national bard. This is Burns night. Few examples: Moussa Dembele, Liam Kelly, Alan Hutton, Chris Sutton. We've had that one.
Aye, mine's
Gordon Dalziel, Adam Frizzell, Charles Dunn, Mason Munn, Curtis Main, Scott Bain. There you are.
That's good. That's good. Well done.
Did you read out the first ones there?
I read out a selection from...
Because Stan Petrov, Dimitar Mitov, I'm not sure I'm having that. They both just end in OV.
Nah.
There's a couple of questionable ones on here. But you know what? You had a bit of fun. That's fine. That's alright. We'll let you off with it.
Andy Halliday, Stevie May.
Oh, where's that one written down?
That's from Celtic OK.
Andy, it's not great either, is it?
No.
That is not great either. Well, it was an experiment, wasn't it?
Can't wait till I cannot wait till the half-time teaser comes.
Last time we got your Falkirk fan, let me tell you.
5 additional minutes at Hearts against Kilmarnock. In that game there was a VAR stoppage, wasn't there, for a potential penalty for that Craig Halkett one. It wasn't a handball. He went off injured. 2 minutes added between St Johnstone and Motherwell. Dave Galloway saying it appears Rubezic asked to be substituted.
I love that. No way. Take me off.
We'll need to get some confirmation on that. But that would be quite something if a player, whether he's struggling for whatever reason or just decided I'm not having a good day, I need to get off here.
There has never been in the history of the game a more volcanic manager under duress than Sir Alex Ferguson. But in his years at Pittodrie, I can never ever remember a substitution made in the first half.
Half time, we've got our first one. Ross County against Hibs. Lana, Mackay.
Yep, half time here in Dingwall, and it's Ross County 0, Hibs 1. Dylan Levitt has Hibs ahead at the break after Jordan White missed a penalty for the home side. It's a lovely goal from Hibs. Nectar Trians has just rolled the ball through for Levitt on the edge of the box. First touch into the bottom corner. And the Staggies could have taken the lead just before the half hour mark. They were given a penalty for Nicky Cadden's handball after a VAR check. It was pretty harsh, I think, but Jordan White went for the bottom right corner, didn't quite get enough power on it, and Jordan Smith got down to make the save. Hibs fans making plenty of noise to my left, and the game's livened up a little bit since the penalty miss and the goal, of course, but hasn't really been the best first half. The pitch isn't looking great. It's really muddy and bobbly out there, and both sets of players have found it tough. Nicky Cadden could have made it 2 for Hibs right at the end here, hit the ball into the side netting, and it's Hibs with a narrow lead at the break in Dingwall. It's Ross County 0, Hibs 1.
Also half time at McDiarmid Park, St Johnstone, Motherwell, Calum Brown.
Yeah, rather scrappy affair here, Andrew, with not much between the sides and very few clear-cut chances, but it is St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 1 at the break. And that goal came very early on, just 2 minutes on the clock. It was actually just 12 seconds on the clock when Motherwell had a penalty appeal A ball from the left, struck the arm of Sven Sprangler, a ball wide from the left, I should say. Play was waved on until it went out, and then Kevin Clancy rushed over to the screen, awarded the penalty to the away side, and up stepped Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard's Andy Halliday, and he converted comfortably, sending Fisher the wrong way. A lovely penalty from the Motherwell midfielder. As I say, a scrappy game, not a lot between the sides, a few chances here and there. Motherwell happy to sit in and try and hit on the break. St Johnstone with the majority of possession, but just lacking that final ball. No real clear-cut chances. Griffith was denied by Ellery Balcombe, who sort of spilled his save. Kirk was waiting to tap home, but then a great intervention by Shane Blaney. And as I say, Motherwell happy to sit, try and counter-attack, breaking very often from those St Johnstone attacks. Tony Watts had an effort or two. Tawanda Maswanisi causing problems whenever he gets it. A lovely run off the right around 35 minutes. He beat 3 players, but cut back to Payton, who fired high and wide. Andy Halliday had another chance from the edge of the box, but his effort deflected over his effort that actually looked goal-bound. There was a penalty claim up the other end. Max Kucheravi going down, but play was waved on. Mackenzie Kirk fired across goal to no avail. Mackenzie Kirk has been very good up front for St Johnstone, using his pace to try and get him behind, but as I say, to no avail. Graham Carey trying to be creative. He won a free kick wide right, which he took. There was plenty in the box, but Carey aimed for the back post, looking to beat Ellery Balcombe, but that came just wide. Half time, a very tight match, but Motherwell are edging it. It's St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 1 at McDiarmid Park.
Half time at Somerset Park. David Friel.
Half time, Andrew. Ayr 2, Partick 0. George Oakley's double has put Ayr 2 up there, cruising in this one. They've been really, really good. The big striker now is 14 for the season, 7 in his last 4 games. He's on fire right now, but Scott Brown's side overall have been excellent. Conor Maclean at the centre of everything. Oakley a real handful in attack. Jimmy Murphy, Jay Henderson, they've also been really bright, and at the back here have limited Partick to very, very little. They got the opener in 19 minutes. Conor McLennan found space in the right, whipped in a brilliant cross for Oakley. Still had work to do, but it was a bullet header into the top corner. Ayr pushed for more after that. Jimmy Murphy fired over from the edge of the box. He then missed a really good chance after being played in by Jay Henderson. Henderson was tormenting Partick, and created the second for Oakley in 36 minutes. Clipped a lovely cross to the back post. Oakley again still had so much work to do, but guided it back across goal for a brilliant headed finish. Ayr in total control. Partick fans not happy. Loud boos at half time there. Half time, Ayr 2, Partick 0.
Half time at Pittodrie. Dave Galloway.
Half time, Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 2, and a chorus of boos from the home fans. Aberdeen were in blunderland early on as they gifted a goal just 7 minutes in. A simple looking ball forward. Rubizic tried to nod it back to Doohan, but he had no idea at all that the keeper had come off his line, and Olasanya just couldn't believe his luck, and he had a tap in. Perhaps the earliest goal, the easiest goal he will score this season. The Dons almost equalised when Hemming parried Ockle's curler from outside the box. It fell to Gay just 6 yards out, but Hemming made a magnificent reaction save to deny him. Plenty pressure from the host, but another calamitous piece of play by Rubizic saw Saints double their advantage on 36 minutes. Olasanya beat his man with all too much ease, and he cut back for Mandron, who had a very easy finish. Rubizic was subbed less than 5 minutes later with Dorrington coming on, and it appears that the defender actually asked to be taken off. I saw him go straight up the tunnel. He certainly did not look injured. Plenty attacking by the home team in this first half, but the visitors very well organised, and they merit their interval lead. Half time, Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 2.
Finally, half time at Tynecastle. Fraser Wishart.
Hearts 1, Kilmarnock 0. It's been a quiet, scrappy first half. As expected, nothing between the two sides. Not many chances though. The only goal came early on. A really good low finish by new striker Elton Kabangu. That came on the 7th minute after a slow start to the game. Like the rest of the game, it was a bit scrappy. George Grant miscued across the face of goal. Blair Spittle tried to shoot. He then hit his shot back across the face of goal. It fell to Kabangu, who turned the ball home. A really good striker. Finished by the Belgian striker from 6 yards. A real blow for Hearts in 10 minutes. Centre back Craig Halkett limped off. He was hurt stretching to block across. And then Kelly had their first effort in 13 minutes. Fraser Murray, been quite impressive on this left hand side for Kilmarnock. He had a good 20-yard shot, struck it really well, but straight at Craig Gordon, and then Craig Gordon had to look really lively, really good save low for a powerful Bobby Wales header from another Murray cross. That was the best save and probably the last effort at goal by Kilmarnock. They're trying to play two up front, Hearts trying to create chances. Spittle cut back, James Wilson's shot just over from 16 yards. You really should have hit the target from 16 yards. Both sides a bit hesitant in the last third, few chances. The Hearts crowd beginning to come a bit quiet despite the lead. Spittle then set Penrice down the left hand side. His cut back from the byline, struck well by Wilson, left foot 16 yards out, struck it really well. The ball hit Kyle McGuinness and wide. It was a good block by the midfield player. And then in 33 minutes, Jamie McCart headed a Penrice free kick into the net at the back post. It was in off the post. The assistant referee flagged for offside, and that was confirmed by VAR. That was it for the chances. The Hearts fans were pretty subdued so far. They're usually vociferous, either positively or negatively, but that's quite telling at Tynecastle because there's been little excitement so far. The game needs a spark to get this game going, and I don't think Derry McInnes will be too unhappy at the break. Even though his team are a goal down, they are still right in this game. Half time at Tynecastle, Hearts 1, Kilmarnock 0.
We'll bring you all the half-time scores next.
The fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time scores in the Scottish Premiership: Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 2, Hearts 1, Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 0, Hibs 1, St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 1. Into the Championship, Airdrie 1, Dunfermline 0. Not quite half-time in that one yet. There was a delay to the start of that game. It's Ayr United 2, Partick Thistle 0, Livingston 2, Hamilton 0, Queen's Park 1, Morton 0, Wraith Rovers 0, Falkirk 1. Into League 1, Alloa 0, Inverness 1, Queen of the South 1, Dumbarton 1, Stenhousemuir 0, Cove Rangers 3, Annan 0, Montrose 0. And in League 2, Clyde 0, Elgin 0, East Fife 0, Edinburgh City 0, Forfar 0, Stranraer 0, Spartans 0, Peterhead 0, Stirling Albion 3, Bonnyrigg Rose 0. And in the English Premier League, half-time, Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Brighton 0, Everton 1, Liverpool 3, Ipswich 0, Southampton 1, Newcastle 2, Wolves 0, Arsenal 0. We'll get the second halfs underway next.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Audi. Looking to sell your Audi? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
Football, it has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye, right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in row Z. The good news is the Ladbrokes ACCA gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your ACCA. It's a gaffer of an ACCA from Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 at boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.
Hey, with Mary Ups, Mary. Tell us how that went.
Yeah, came out real hungry. Had to be quick to save the last few. Bagels, that is.
Warburton's protein thin bagels?
Yeah, right. Kept my eye on the prize, as I knew we'd bring the heat later, in the toaster.
How about the rest of the team, though?
Yeah, great support from Cosa Manchego. Prosciutto played a blinder as well, so got pretty tasty out there at times.
Sandwich of two halves, would you say?
Yeah, 100%, and 8 grams of protein. Great result.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
The protein range from Warburton's, bakers, born and bred.
Hey, with Mary Ups, Mary. Tell us how that went.
Yeah, came out real hungry. Had to be quick to save the last few. Bagels, that is.
Warburton's protein thin bagels?
Yeah, right. Kept my eye on the prize, as I knew we'd bring the heat later, in the toaster.
How about the rest of the team, though?
Yeah, great support from Cosa Manchego. Prosciutto played a blinder as well, so got pretty tasty out there at times.
Sandwich of two halves, would you say?
Yeah, 100%, and 8 grams of protein. Great result.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
The protein range from Warburton's, bakers, born and bred.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Audi. Book a test drive for the fully electric range today. Head online for details. Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Just about to get back underway in the Scottish Premiership matches. It is underway already in some of the lower league games. Alloa have an equaliser already against Inverness. Cammy O'Donnell with that goal, and there was actually a goal at the end of the first half for Airdrie. That game was running slightly behind. They're now 2-0 up against Dunfermline, which would be a big result for them. Chris Mockery with the goal in that one. Let's get the second halves underway.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get advice on keeping infections and viruses away when school returns.
I'm still getting rhymes coming in.
Yeah, you're getting people sending you them, texting you them.
Rhymes coming in on the Nokia from family members.
Any good ones?
Marvin Bartley, Paul Hartley.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Any more?
No.
So
the big build up just for one.
I'm getting a rhyme coming in. Basically,
I switched the Nokia off at that point because
professional.
When it goes off on air,
it goes off.
I am mocked.
It's not only that, there's something with your phone, the old nature of it, that means whenever you're about to get a text, it interferes with the signal of all the microphones as well. So if ever you hear that over the radio, it's probably because Hugh's about to get a text. That's normally what it is. So we are back underway for the second halves. And where do you think the action is going to be in these?
You know, I'm now drawn to Pittodrie because to be 2 down, to have a player, Slobodan Rubizic, who has been subbed in the first half, and there's a mystery attached to the substitution because Dave Galloway says he didn't look injured. Well, it doesn't have to be injured. He can simply be taken off because he's hopeless. And we'll have to find out if that was the case. But 2-0 down to St Mirren at Pittodrie, with the greatest respect to Stephen Robinson and St Mirren. That has to be unacceptable to the Aberdeen fans, and it looks like 13 league games in a row now with no wins for Jimmy Tilleen. And of course you're also drawn to McDiarmid Park. Andy Halliday has put Motherwell up from the penalty spot, but the show isn't over yet. So
yes,
those
Johnstone actually trying to get back in that at the moment. A good double save by Ellery Balcom, denied Carey, and then claws it away from Adama Sidibe, who was brought on at half time. Sidibe was on the stretch, didn't fully connect. There's another Aberdeen substitute going into the second half, Palaversa on for Nilsson. So Jimmy Tilleen clearly not happy with what he saw in that first half.
No, you're not the only one. Every Aberdeen fan inside the ground's not happy. So I don't think they'll win the match. A draw would be a great result for them from this distance, 2 down. But another defeat, yet another defeat. I said earlier on, there comes a day when the dam bursts and the supporters turn against you.
Yeah, they certainly need the next goal. That's an understatement. But it'll be interesting to see if the changes make such a difference. St Mirren will fancy that big time. 2-0 up away from home, usually hard to beat St Mirren when they're in the league. They know how to hold on to it. And the rest of the games are finally in the balance, isn't they? 1 goal, Hearts, Kilmarnock, St Johnstone, Motherwell and Ross County Hibs. So plenty of goals, plenty of action in the second half.
I'm not talking about Jimmy Tilleen's job being under threat. What I'm suggesting here is that were St Mirren to make it 3 or 4, then the crowd would turn on Jimmy Tilleen. That's not to say he loses his job. It's simply to say it's a transformation, that this crowd turn on you. They've looked at you early on and thought you were a genius. Now they're looking at you and thinking you're a dunce.
Calvin Ramsey has only lasted the first half for Kilmarnock. Fraser Wishart saying he didn't seem injured, but obviously hasn't played a lot of football recently, so it might just be a case of easing him into the team at the moment. St Mirren have also made a change. Kilty on for Mark O'Hara.
Must be injured then, O'Hara, yeah? Because he's a big player for him. So he must have picked up a little knock.
Should we do this, Hugh?
Yes. I have been managed by Jose Mourinho and played alongside Hulk, Kenny Miller and Dirk Kuyt. I have just under 100 caps for my country, and I've won 7 league titles across 3 different countries. Who am I? So, been managed by the special one, Jose Mourinho, played alongside Hulk, Kenny Miller and Dirk Kuyt. I have just under 100 caps for my country, and I've won 7 league titles across 3 different countries. Who am I?
Plenty of information there, so get over to @ClydeSSB on Twitter and you can read it all on there. And remember, it is a race, so get your answers in quickly. @ClydeSSB, always easy enough to win it if you get the answer, because it's just one answer. You don't need lots lots of them, like in the first half teaser.
And you don't have to have his name rhyme with any of the other players' name.
That is very true.
Just tell us his name.
How are you feeling about that one, Gordon?
I'll have something to do with Burns, so I'm going down that road.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
Let me put you out your
misery. You should have just let him think that, though. That would have been good.
And I take it the Hulk's the player, not the
comic hero. Yes.
Okay.
I'm thinking something to do with the Turkish league. Mourinho's over there. Dirk played there.
You're going to have to keep your thoughts to yourself because you'll give it away.
You're not allowed to give it away, Ross.
No. You're not?
Tell me, I'll do it for you.
I'm not going to say the name. It was just what I was
initials.
thinking.
Write it down, because if you get it, you get
I don't know.
a pat in the back.
I don't know.
There was a famous day when Alec Ray actually said the name.
Seconds after it had been it was as if he went to, was like, right, I can't say the name, and then seconds later was it Ian Wright?
Yeah, it was.
And he said righty straight away. He went to tell a story about him straight away.
Yeah,
ruined the teaser. So I think we had to scramble about to get a better one, or just one that hadn't been ruined for everyone.
So if you think you know it, do a Gordon Dale and write it down.
Yeah, a good few changes at half-time for a few teams in the Premiership, and we've also got one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Kilmarnock's change has worked. They have a goal. It's not Danny Armstrong, the substitute, that scored, but it is young Bobby Wales that has the goal, and they have equalised at Tynecastle against Hearts. It was a low volley from a Watkins cross. 1-1. Very popular player with the Kilmarnock fans, Bobby Wales. It's been quite the week for young talent, with Rangers bringing on Curtis Finlay and also Finlay Curtis rather. And who's the other one who come on?
Bailey
Rice,
yeah. And now Bobby Wales. Good to see.
Good response. That's what Derek will be looking for.
VAR will check it though for a potential offside. But the goal was checked quickly. I think it was maybe for the pass to Watkins that then led to the cross, but doesn't matter because the goal counts. Bobby Wales gets it. He scored against Celtic last time out, didn't he? So he's now got 2 and Gordon Dalziel is holding up the teaser answer, which is correct.
Yeah. How did you do that?
There you go, Roscoe. That's it. You're sitting
Why
next
were you
to
on your phone for 5 minutes
there we go.
Did you think I was on my phone? Tell the truth.
No.
Thank you very much. Genius, mate. You're sitting next to a genius. You will. I tell you what, this will benefit you in your media career going forward.
Well, it was. We found out at one point that it was producer John that had been feeding you the answers, wasn't it?
I used to cheat.
And he is in today.
Yeah.
Oh no. To be fair to Big John, no, I didn't. Honestly, I'm telling you now. I put the jigsaw together, come up with it, bang.
I'm looking forward to picking through that later on to see exactly how he's put that jigsaw together. A couple of questions in particular.
Need to join the dots for us.
Oh, the dots will be joined. Don't you worry about that.
A positive start to the second half by Aberdeen. They're looking better for that substitution before half time with Rubizic coming off, and then a substitution at half time as well.
A positive start is Kilmarnock coming out and equalising. If Aberdeen want a positive start, they need a goal.
Well, Pat Gay goes close, heads across wide from about 8 yards out. An opportunity.
Is he still Aberdeen's top goal scorer?
Yeah.
That's incredible, isn't it? And let me just say, I'm getting this one right. He's been out for a long time.
Yes, he has indeed.
And he's still the top goal scorer. That just shows you that they're struggling in all departments.
Yeah.
Zach Hemming has been booked for wasting time, the St Mirren goalkeeper. So quite happy to just hold on to that 2-0 lead they've got at Pittodrie.
Could be a big goal, that actually, the Kilmarnock goal, not only for them but for St Johnstone if they can get back into it. I think they need to turn that around if they've got any hope. Need to.
It's funny, Andy Halliday scoring straight away from the penalty spot and nothing since. You would think two teams who have so much going on in the background, there might have been more goals, but not a sausage.
I don't think it'll be an entertaining game up there, Hugh. As much as I like to talk up our football,
I mean, it certainly wasn't last weekend, was it? There was quite a lot of criticism for the I was going to say spectacle, the lack of spectacle between the two sides. Didn't look a great game. We'll see if today is panning out exactly the same.
Yeah, but the most important thing, and especially if it's Motherwell, it's about that revenge, getting the 3 points. Obviously Hugh touched on it, that Stuart Kettlewell and the fans are at each other just now. The only way to answer them is keep winning. It's as simple as that.
You'd be hard pressed in terms of spectacle to beat Celtic young boys the other night. I mean, 3 disallowed goals, missed penalty, red card, and peculiar own goal winner.
Just incredible drama, really, overall across the 2 games. But at one point it maybe looked as if it just wasn't going to be Celtic's day with the way it went. And do you think Kyogo in particular will be quite disappointed with the way it ended? Just the fact that he ended up having a hat-trick of disallowed goals in what turned out to be his final game for the club, which you'd expect he would have known it would have been his final game for the club, with the timing of the news breaking just after full time.
But there was no dubiety at all. They all had to be disallowed for one reason or another. But as a spectacle, hard to beat.
That's quite a scoreline down south. Bournemouth 3, Nottingham Forest 0. Not because Bournemouth have been bad at all this season, they're having a very good season, but Nottingham Forest have probably been, or definitely have been, the surprise package of the English Premier League this season. But 3-0 down to Bournemouth. Justin Clivert with another goal. He's in good form.
I was reading Graham Souness's newspaper column this morning, and he said that Ryan Christie is the man, the top man for Bournemouth, the heart of the team, and he attributed a lot of what Bournemouth are doing to Ryan Christie. So they're an astonishing club. I mean, they've got a tiny ground compared to every other in the English Premier League, but they're doing it on the park for us.
They always have done it, to be fair, the last few years, and make no mistake as well, they've spent a right few quid. A lot of money they've spent over the years.
You played there, mate?
I've played there a few times. I've been absolutely battered there probably 2 or 3 times. 5-1, 4-0. Wasn't a nice place to go. But yes, I've seen a lot of them. Ryan Christie probably is the man. Him and Clivert, who scored a couple of hat-tricks. They're looking really good. That's, I think, beat Newcastle away last game. Now this result, massive.
Not just beat Newcastle, tore them apart.
Yes, they did. Yeah, you're right.
And that third goal's not going to count. But it's still 2-0. But with Ryan Christie, Scotland really do have an embarrassment of riches in that midfield area. When you look at what Ryan Christie's doing, we all know about John McGinn, we know about Scott McTominay. Yes, Calum McGregor is now retired from international duty, but Lewis Ferguson back fit and captaining Bologna again, which is good to see.
5-year contract he signed. Loving life in Italy, wouldn't you? I'd happily live there myself.
My biggest regret, Hugh, when I played, I should have went abroad.
Yeah,
I would say to any young player now, go and educate yourself, learn a new language, new culture, football, educate yourself, and then come back when it's time. But I see a lot of the young. Look at Lewis Ferguson, for instance. Bologna, captain, outstanding. You've had other players that went over abroad and done very well indeed.
Liam Henderson, who was in the Hibs team that won the Cup in 2016, 9 years later he's still in Italy with Empoli. So they love their Scots. Scott McTominay, Billy Gilmour at Napoli. That's the place to be.
Yeah, there's been talk about Italian clubs will certainly bid from Udinese for Lennon Miller. Certainly a market that they've been quite happy to keep going into.
Such a wonderful lifestyle into the bargain. A beautiful country.
The only place I wouldn't go is Napoli. It's very difficult to get across the road. You've been there, Russ?
No, but
and it's a home of the pizza, and let me tell you, it's not the best pizza you'll ever taste.
Do you think the city is called Napoli?
Naples.
Yeah. I'm just checking.
What do you listen? I'm educated in this. I've been all over the world.
I did wonder why we could see an animated producer John through the window, and that's because it's Wraith Rovers 0, Falkirk 2. Ross McKeever with that goal to put them 2 ahead, so it looks as if they will be staying top of the championship. We've got a big one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
In the Premiership, it's Jamie McCart, Hearts 2, Kilmarnock 1. He almost scored in the first half, didn't he? He had the ball in the back of the net. That one didn't count, but this one looks as if it will. A simple goal, powered the header from a Penrice corner, 8 yards out, easy as you like. Hearts 2-1 up.
Well, his dad Chris will be delighted, and he's made a real good move by coming back to Scotland, Jamie McCart, and he fitted in to the Hearts set-up as if he was born and brought up in Edinburgh. But that's
Derek will be disappointed with that. Ross touched on it when I was talking about set plays and everything. It's so important in the game just now. You've got to switch on. It's incredible the amount of teams that lose goals from corner kicks, and we're listening to Fraser talking about it. They're so easy. You know, nobody round about him gets a free header, 6 yards out, gives the goalkeeper absolute no chance. If you're Derek McInnes, you've been working in these set plays all week, and then your players just totally switch off. But all credit to McCart. He's in there, right position, right place, and gets his team the lead.
He scored a good header in the first half, but he was fractionally offside. But I think it's a great thing to have in your team, somebody who can come up for set pieces, corner kicks, free kicks, and have that ability in the air, and he's shown that today.
I like this as an introduction to Scottish football. Dominic Thompson, who's just signed for Motherwell, has come off the bench to make his debut. A minute later, a late tackle, yellow card straight away. First involvement. I don't think he's touched the ball yet.
Let them know you're there.
You used to get away with that back in the day, didn't you? Now it's a yellow right away. But going back to Hearts, what a signing Penrice has been. He's going to be, I think, moving forward, I think he's going to be very unlucky with the left backs that he's got ahead of him for the national team. Otherwise, he could have been a mainstay in that team.
Yeah, has sort of maybe went under the radar when he first signed. Was a free transfer, wasn't it, from Livingston?
Yeah.
And just set piece deliveries, but also in terms of just open play, attacking wise, defensively, just looks really solid all round. Hearts will be really happy with that acquisition.
Yeah, powerful runner, great delivery, just a no-brainer signing. He's been fantastic.
How old is he now? Is he?
Good question. Still pretty young. I would say he's maybe about
26 or something. 27.
I would have said younger than that,
is
potentially, but we'll see. You might well be right.
But I agree with
exactly 26.
There you
go. Good work.
I'm on it, mate. Honestly,
he's trying to make up for that George Oakley one earlier on.
You're sitting there amazed. I've got to say, I agree with. I think he's a willing runner, and he's got a terrific delivery. Lovely sweet left foot. Really good player for Hearts. Terrific signing.
Hey, with Mary ups, Mary. Tell us how that went.
Yeah, came out real hungry. Had to be quick to save the last few. Bagels, that is.
Warburton's protein thin bagels?
Yeah, right. Kept my eye on the prize, as I knew we'd bring the heat later, in the toaster.
How about the rest of the team, though?
Yeah, great support from Cosa Manchego. Prosciutto played a blinder as well, so got pretty tasty out there at times.
A sandwich of 2 halves, would you say?
Yeah, 100%, and 8 grams of protein. Great result.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Good protein range from Warburton's, bakers, born and bred.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hearts 3, Kilmarnock 1. George Grant this time. Hearts extend their lead a couple of goals in the space of a couple of minutes, and it's looking good for Neil Critchley's men as they look to move their way up the table.
Well, with the best will in the world, Kilmarnock don't come back from that, so they do move up the table, and Kilmarnock and possibly Ross County could be a bad day for both of them if they lose to each of the Edinburgh clubs. Just the unpredictable nature of that league, but Hearts and Hibs now back on the rise after a dreadful start to the season.
Kelly going the wrong direction here, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's an absolute disaster for Kieran O'Hara as well in the Kilmarnock goal. The ball came in, it was then headed, looped up into the air. It looked like the type of thing that the goalkeeper should just be able to jump up and catch. There's no way you should be getting beaten by a player in the air there with a header, but he isn't able to gather the ball, misses it, and George Grant headed it over him.
Well, however the goal was scored, whether it was a fluke, a goalkeeper's mistake or whatever, it's 3-1 Hearts now, and Kilmarnock don't come back, don't get a draw, certainly don't get a win, and it's been a real tough season for Derek McInnes.
Yeah, you did wonder at the start of the season when they went through the fact they had European qualifiers and had such a busy schedule compared to other teams that maybe didn't. You maybe just thought that Kilmarnock would be fine after that period and they would start to pick up wins. I think they've been a bit better since then, but still hasn't been the type of season that Derek McInnes would have wanted after last season going so well.
And he's got injury problems and all sorts going on. It's now developing into a slog, and they need to be careful because they're on 25 points. Hearts will be on 27 after this win, so you'll have Kilmarnock and Ross County suddenly becoming the two teams under threat of having to go into the playoffs.
It's been a real pursuit out of the Scottish Cup as well, obviously.
And yet they played well against Celtic.
Yeah, but in a one-off game like that against Celtic, and teams tend to raise their game a little bit more. I don't know why, and I can't explain it. But when it's your bread and butter going away to teams like Hearts and going to Paisley and Fir Park, you've got to produce the results, and they've certainly not done that this year. I'm so surprised at them, because when I look at their squad individually, I think they've got really good players.
Well, is it too late for Billy Bowie to lend Derek McInnes a hand in the transfer window, because they look like they could do with a fresh injection?
Hugh, you spoke about it earlier. If Hearts get another goal here, they jump up 3 places, go above Dundee as well. That's how bizarre this league is, isn't it?
Yeah, that just doesn't make any sense.
Might need a late fitness test for Andy Halliday, limping off. That'll be the end of his afternoon.
Like, he scored a goal. You get to that 60-61 minute and think, I
think he's been lapping up the applause from the away supporters as he makes his way off the pitch, goes down the tunnel, presumably to get treatment. Luke Armstrong, who signed, was that this morning or yesterday maybe, signed from Carlisle, he comes on. Nicholson also comes off for Davor Dravkovsky, so that more of a, I suppose there's one attacking, one defensive change in there, so it sort of evens itself out.
I'd like to count the Motherwell squad. They've got some amount of players. I know they've got a big injury list, and that's what I like about Motherwell, because I was speaking to their chief exec Brian Caldwell not that long ago, and they realise the injury list they've got to important players, real important players, good players. And instead of getting to January and saying, look, we can't back you with bringing players in because we've got a big squad, we've got to get players out, well, they've backed them all the way. They've been absolutely brilliant, the Motherwell board, and obviously Brian's a big part of that.
You should be a chief exec by this time, shouldn't you, really?
Well, yeah, I should. I should be. I'm spending my days better than standing with you guys in here. I think I'm wasted talent, but maybe my ship sailed.
Do you think you could do all those business deals from your recliner?
100%. Do you know something? When I was at Wraith as a manager, I used to get the budget and I had it down to £1. £1. I was sensational. Should see my wages right enough, but I've got to. In the days you didn't have anybody above you. What happened was you got your budget, so the board would come in and say, that's your budget, spend it any way you want. Honestly,
just for essentially everything across the club.
No, for your players.
So in wages, there wasn't a cap on that.
Yeah,
spending. It was just whatever you could get out of
whatever
that
you
money.
got. So say they gave you, I don't know, let's say $100,000, right? So you could bring in as many players as you wanted, but your $100,000 was your seal. That's all you could spend. So I used to do it as a cake, right? This is the way I worked. This is the genius. This is what Marino taught me. And I would divide the cake up into big bits and wee bits. So my important players would probably get the more wages, and then my younger players would get the smaller wages with the better add-ons like appearances and bonuses and stuff like that. That's why I was so successful. Any young manager listening out there,
the old cake method. Yes. Everyone knows that.
Go with the cake. Always go with the cake.
He's the Mary Berry of management.
You like that, do you?
I do, actually.
With M&D Green Pharmacy.
I was going to say, he's actually looks-wise maybe a bit more Paul Hollywood, actually. Same haircut. Well, that is a goal for Kilmarnock. Fraser Murray has scored. There is going to be a VAR check for a possible offside. So will that stand? Are Kilmarnock back in it? We will wait and see. George Oakley's gone down injured for Ayr United. Limping seems okay. Maybe it could be an opportunity, you think, for Curtis Main to come on and make his debut after signing this morning.
Gordon, see, just going back to you being a chief executive, what are you doing with that bid that comes in for Lennon Miller, £2.5 million?
Oh, I'm not accepting that.
Straight in the bin?
No, straight in the bin. Lennon Miller, because it's Motherwell, teams think, right, we'll throw in a small bid there. Lennon Miller, put it this way, if Lennon Miller's at Celtic just now, no way is a team bidding £2.5 million for him, right? It's because it's in Motherwell. There's not a chance Motherwell accept that bid. Lennon, that's just an opening bid or whatever. But also, does Lennon Miller want to go to euthanasia?
No.
You know what I mean? He's a very sensible boy. He's got good people round about him. I know he's injured just now. He's 18 years age.
Do you not think that's an attractive prospect?
No.
Euthanasia, no?
I think he'll get much better than that. Much better than that. I think he's too good a talent.
But then you say much better than that. Is there then a balance to strike between getting much better than that, but also making sure it's a club where he's going to play regularly? Because he won't surely at his age, with the I say at his age, but the way he has been playing over the last 2 years, week in, week out, now the key man for Motherwell, he's not going to want to go somewhere where he's down the pecking order, is he?
I'm not talking about he's going to Real Madrid, Barcelona and teams like that, Dortmund. But I think he can get better somewhere along the line, and I totally agree with your statement there. I think he needs to go and make sure that he's got a great opportunity playing. You can't say, well, I'm signing with you, I've got to play every game. You've got to earn that right, even at the young age of 18-year-old with the talent he's got. But if he goes to the right club that suits him as well, and there's a lot of work to be done, then I think he's got a great opportunity.
You wouldn't worry, 18 years old, that when value can go up or down, you wouldn't worry that you might regret one day not taking 2.5 million?
Absolutely no chance.
Motherwell may feel that they can get more for him right now, though, rather than thinking, well, we can get more in the future. They think that his value right now is worth more than £2.5 million.
He's got 18 months left or something in his contract, isn't he? So okay, you need to start looking round about the summer. But let me just say, if you sell Miller for 2.5 million, you ain't doing your job right.
That Kilmarnock goal did stand, so it is 3-2, game on at Tynecastle with around 20 minutes to go in that game. Should be a good finish. It has sparked some changes for both sides. Shankland, Drama and Danda on for Hearts, Grant Wilson and Spittle off, Watson and Donnelly on for Kilmarnock, Polworth and McGuinness.
Well, there's a level of embarrassment involved if you're 3-1 at home and don't take all 3 points. So a bit of intrigue in the match at Tynecastle.
It shows you the strength of the squad that Hearts have got. Look at the substitutions they're bringing on there. They're decent players they're bringing on. So they've got good players at their disposal, but that's got to be a nervy ending for Hearts.
Yeah, very.
Airdrie look as if they're about to get their second league win of the season. Yeah. It's 3-0. They are up against Dunfermline now. Ben Wilson with the goal.
Well, it's a peculiar start to life for Michael Tidser at Dunfermline, because this is an Airdrie side. As you said, was it 1 win in 20?
Yeah, this will be their second win in 21 games.
And they're what, 3 up?
3 up again, yeah. But the Pats have struggled as well. They've had, see, for such a big club as well, they have really struggled. I didn't see the appointment of the manager, I've got to say. I know people talk highly of him when he was at Kelty, but did he do enough at Kelty to get and take a job on like that? That's a big job. You've got to keep them in that league. They're a decent sized club, they get a good support. That's a pressure job. Time will tell, but not a good start today.
And that move opened up a move for your big pal Charlie Mulgrew to get a move to Kelty Hearts, his first managerial job.
Oh, honestly, I'll be like going and watching Real Madrid, won't it, with Big Charlie. I cannot wait to go up to Kelty Hearts to watch Charlie.
The day you're at Kelty.
To be fair, that's a
not
point.
a chance.
If
not a chance.
If it's on the TV, I'll tune in.
Interested to see how he gets on. Well, first job in management. I know he's been very keen to get in.
They were due to play at Arbroath today, and the mind boggles at what Arbroath will be like in this weather. It's murder in the middle of August, but the storm took care of that one. So we'll look forward with interest to how Charlie does.
Has he kept Scotty Allen on the backroom staff? Because Scotty was on the backroom staff, wasn't he?
I think was he helping out coaching? I think Scott Allen.
He was doing a bit of coaching there.
Yeah.
A bit disappointed he's not been taken to Dunfermline. You know, but thanks so hard be phoning him.
He still wants to play though.
Wait, with Kelly? You have your rocker.
Alloa 1, Inverness 2. Alfie Stewart with the goal to put the away side ahead. Aberdeen have made a couple of changes. Duke and Morris on for Papgay and Ockles.
Well, Papgay, clearly it's a fitness issue with him. He's been out for a long time and he can't last the pace in his return match. But they still trail by 2 goals, and that dam is getting ready to burst.
They're going to need one soon, aren't they, if they're going to turn this one round?
Listen, blow a horn down that mic and wake up Calum Brown at St Johnstone, would you, and ask him how it's going. Is it an end-to-end game up there?
Let's see, I'm trying to. When was the last update we had from?
Oh, probably half time.
Oh, that was when Andy Halliday went off injured.
Was it? That was a highlight of the second half.
Anybody got the second half teaser yet, apart from the Dazzler?
Oh, you must have. That's easy.
Let's have a look on Twitter. I actually don't. It's only just been tweeted out a minute ago, so we'll have to wait and see the wrong answers coming in now. But do you want to read that again, Hugh?
Yeah, I have been managed by Jose Mourinho and played alongside Hulk, Kenny Miller and Dirk Kuyt. I have just under 100 caps for my country, and I've won 7 league titles across 3 different countries. Who am I?
Right, we do have some answers coming in. David says Nuno Capuccio.
No.
The House of Green and White Hoops says Dado Perso.
Nope.
No. Gordon Dalziel does have it.
Yes, of course he does, yeah.
I can see some correct answers coming in.
So am I first in the podium this afternoon?
You did get it pretty quickly, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, I was in.
Queen's Park 1, Morton 2. They've come from behind. Michael Garrity with the goal. And that will be a good win for them. I know they've got troubles with their stadium.
Yeah.
With the bad weather over the last couple of days, but that game going ahead at Hampden, and it is a 2-1 lead for Morton as it stands. I think we should have a good end to some of these Premiership games, though. Calum Brown has given us an update from McDiarmid Park. I think Motherwell have had their first chance for a while, or their first chance after the break. Or for either side. Watt and Armstrong linking well. Maswanise draws a save from Fisher straight up the other end. Defence splitting pass from Nicky Clark through, but a weak left foot shot. The game has burst into life, apparently. We've talked it into existence.
It'll be interesting to see what the fans think. If it stays this way and Motherwell win, are they going to be happy with the win and don't care about the performance, or is it going to be usual, not happy with the style of play regardless if they win or not?
Because they would go 1 point behind Aberdeen, which would have been unthinkable at one point, and I know that is a lot down to Aberdeen's form, but if Motherwell find themselves a point off of 4th place, I know there is a debate between style of play and fan enjoyment, but you can't argue with the league position.
Not at all. I can't get away though from the remarks that the manager made, which was an implied criticism of supporters' observations on the matter. You haven't played the game, so sit down and be quiet. And that will be interesting because, as Ross said, how do you feel about them now? It's still only 2 goals in 6 away matches, but they're still there, and the most remarkable stat of all, they're just right behind Aberdeen now, who could safely be described as being in free fall.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens towards the end of that game. Interested to hear your thoughts on the phones later on. We'll have the open line at full time. Motherwell fans, maybe you do have some thoughts on Stuart Kettlewell's comments. Maybe you'll have some thoughts on today's performance, and fans of any other club will want to hear from you. Hearts did have a big chance there. Musa Drame was through on goal, 1-on-1. Left-footed shot curled round the keeper, clipped the outside of the post.
Interested to see how the Rangers fans view not Manchester United, Dundee United. The main gripe, or one of the main gripes against Philippe Clement, the away record. And after Man U and the unfortunate end to the match against Man U, Jim Goodwin, Tannadice, 12 o'clock kickoff, Celtic not in action today, the prospect of Rangers, if they win, being 10 points behind Celtic. The optics may all point to Celtic anyway. 10 points, game in hand, superior goal difference, but the team will be scrutinised tomorrow. An away match at a place where Celtic struggled the last time they were there, a goalless draw. And we'll see how Jim Goodwin approaches the match, and Philippe Clement.
Yeah, Philippe Clement will need to make changes because Rangers picking up more injuries. We're yet to see exactly how the likes of Leon Balogun, Connor Barron, Václav Černý as well all came off injured in that game. There's the likes of Yanis Hadji back, Clinton and Ciala available because they are not in the European squad. and you wonder if Rangers fans will maybe want to see a bit more from the likes of Bailey Rice and Finlay Curtis after their cameos.
I thought Bailey Rice was really top drawer when he come on. To come on in that situation, in that arena, in the circumstances, I thought he was he looked the part, right? But I think all Rangers fans would be desperate to see the young players. I don't think you can throw them all in at one time, right? It's not going to work. It was okay at Old Trafford, but the end result's still the same. You lost the game, and you can argue, well, we had young players on the park. You look at Manchester United; they had very young players on the park as well. But I thought it was a good sign for Rangers, and especially for Clement, to say, right, I'm going to put my trust in these young players. That's a difficult game tomorrow at Tannadice. Dundee United will probably fancy that.
You forget that Rangers have also signed a player in this window. Might he be seen tomorrow?
Very true. It's kind of gone under the radar, that, because I think it happened on was it a Saturday morning. Philippe Clement hasn't really been asked about him at all, but he will be available, you'd expect, for this game tomorrow. We have a big one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 3. Mikael Mandron with his second of the game, and it's continuing to go wrong for Jimmy Tillene's men. They got that win against Éowyn in the Scottish Cup last weekend, but this torrid run in the Premiership continues, and in a bad way today.
Ross said earlier on it could go toxic at Pittodrie. Well, I would suggest it's now toxic. 3-0 at home, 13 league games, no wins. This is the day that the dam bursts and the supporters say, had enough. This is seriously wrong. What is happening here?
Yeah, you'd imagine there will be a restless home crowd at Pittodrie, Ross.
Yeah, well, we said it before the game, didn't I, that the Olasanya and Mandron will be licking their lips at this prospect today, and it's turned out that way. They're just that defence so easy to play against. They always try and pass out, but when they pass out, they're open, they lose it, they're caught. It's just bizarre, Aberdeen. I can't get my head round it. I've no idea. Has anyone ever fell away this bad in the SPL before?
No, I can't think.
To go from one extreme to the other, it just does not happen in that way.
I always think it reflects badly on the league that they are so awful but still in fourth place.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And here they are losing 3-0 at home, and it's not over yet. And Motherwell, if they turn that scoreline into a final result and beat St Johnstone, will be 1 point away from Aberdeen. And Hibs will be, if they hold on to their 1-0 lead, they'll be 3 points away from Aberdeen.
Well, speaking of, Ross County got a penalty in the first half. Jordan White took it. It was saved. Ross County have another penalty, a chance from the spot. Jordan White isn't on the pitch anymore, so we'll wait and see who takes that one, but a big chance for Ross County to get back level against Hibs.
Massive chance. Massive. You can't be at home and miss 2 penalties and hope to pick up points. So whoever takes the responsibility has got to put this in the back in it.
Yeah, we talked about strikers taking them. Ronan Hale is on the pitch now. Is he the likely taker, do you reckon?
Well, we're back to Ross McCormack's argument that the striker on the park, off you go then and stick the ball in the net. But the Dazzler has said, as a fine striker he didn't feel comfortable sometimes with the dead ball.
Stenhousemuir 0, Cove Rangers 4. That's going to be a big away win for them. Fraser 5-8. The penalty is going to be taken by Ronan Hale. Steps up.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Game on.
And equalises. Ross County 1, Hibs 1, 87th minute. They've left it late, but they do have that equaliser and could well be taking a point.
Make a habit, Ross County, they make a habit of late goals. So, it's not the worst result in the world for either team. You would settle for that on a bad day, weather-wise, and a pitch that was not the best. But the story of the day is Aberdeen. To lose 3-0 at home, and it might yet get worse. 3-0 at home to St Mirren, 13 league games, no wins. They are the story of the day, because this is a club in free fall, and that has to be unacceptable.
I can only describe Aberdeen in what I usually describe them in. They've went from dancing.
I'll let you get back to that.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Don't worry, it's not in that game. It is a goal for St Johnstone. They have a late equaliser. St Johnstone 1, Motherwell 1, and the points could be shared there as well.
Not a late equaliser, still half an hour to go with VAR. But you get back to Aberdeen. I described them. They started off, and as I said, dancing in the rain. They're now crying in the storm.
Where have you read that? Where have you read that?
You like that, mate?
I'm just saving it all. Saving it all.
Put that one down. Take that one for yourself. I'll give you that one, right?
Did the Dalai Lama give you that one?
Yeah, I was reading that this morning in my book.
Is that what you do now when you're getting up early?
Yeah,
like reading quotes.
Yeah, I love them. I think they're brilliant. I think that everybody should start your day, get the book out, read a few quotes. You'll feel great when you get the start of your day. It just perks you up. It's a great saying, that, isn't it? Because that's the way Aberdeen has gone. They started off, they were absolutely brilliant, and look at what's happened to them now.
What was your one a few weeks ago that I quite liked when I was listening into the show? It was you can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf. I genuinely I did.
Was that the Dragon's Den one?
That wasn't it. No.
Oh, it's a stolen from somewhere that was.
Wasn't. No, that was the bus. If you're going to miss a bus, miss it running. That was mine's, and the Dragon Den stole that and didn't even invest. I wasn't happy.
It was Taylor Stephen that got the goal for St Johnstone. Oh, now about this.
Goal flashes. Wow. With M&D Green Pharmacy.
St Johnstone have taken the lead now. What a turnaround. It's St Johnstone 2, Motherwell 1. Mikulic has scored, and Motherwell fans, well, we were saying earlier on we wanted to hear from them after the game if they were winning. I wonder what they're thinking now. We will have the open line after these matches finish. We want to hear from you, Motherwell fans, maybe especially Aberdeen fans as well. St Mirren fans, big win for you today, but looks as if Motherwell have thrown away all 3 points in the last few minutes.
Stories everywhere you look. Let's start with the bizarre nature of the league. Motherwell, it looks as if they'll lose away. So right now they're dialing 01419511025 on the buses. You've got Jimmy Tillane, 3-0 at home, a loss to St Mirren. So stories everywhere you look, but it highlights once again the bizarre nature of the league, because Aberdeen are still fourth, because Hibs have slipped up and Motherwell have slipped up, and Aberdeen are still there, and they haven't won any of the last 13 games.
Well, there is a delay for a VAR check, so we will wait and see whether that goal will count or not for Bozo Mikulic, as Craig Gordon makes a brilliant save. It was a low Watson shot, 25 yards out, looked as if it was going in. Gordon at full stretch just tips the ball wide.
He's still doing great, isn't he? 42 years old. You know what, a great deal was made of Kasper Schmeichel extending his contract at the age of 38. He looks like a toy boy next to Craig Gordon.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
A goal in our featured championship game. It's Ayr United 2, Partick Thistle 1. They've got a goal back. Remember, Ayr United are down to 10 men as well. They got a red card, and it's a goal for Harry Milne, so that'll be an interesting end to that game. A couple of minutes left to go, and Partick Thistle might fancy their chances of getting a draw in that game if they can push up the park and get a second goal.
So how about the
goal given for St Johnstone? So it is 2-1 to St Johnstone.
Wow.
What a turnaround that is, and it could be a huge win for Simo Valakari, who needs that.
But a huge defeat for Stuart Kettlewell. It adds to the internal warfare that's going on, and the supporters will be disgusted by that. But, you know, that late in the game, you've led from the outset, and that late in the game, you implode, lose 2 goals in quick succession. Not a good day for Stuart Kettlewell.
Should we wrap this up, Hugh?
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have been managed by Jose Mourinho and played alongside Hulk, Kenny Miller and Dirk Kuyt. I have just under 100 caps for my country, and I've won 7 league titles in 3 different countries. I am Bruno Alves.
It is Bruno Alves. Gordon Dalziel got that one. On the podium is Pimbo 211, who's in third place. Ryan Sullivan in second place, and TN 1972 takes the win on that one. Was quickest off the mark.
How did you get it then,
Yeah, well, let's hear your jigsaw.
Well, Kenny Miller was at Rangers, wasn't it?
Yep.
Right. Porto was Porto. He played with Porto, didn't he? Mourinho.
Yep.
Right. He's been all over. That's how I just put the together and then just put that.
Well, that's good dot joining, you have to say.
I mean, we have given him about 40 minutes to try and come up with that after.
I did Google it, to be fair. I was trying to piece the rest of it together, get more information.
The one that threw me was Hulk. Where did he play with him?
So it could have been either Porto or Zenit St Petersburg, I think.
He's played everywhere, mate.
Even played the Masters.
Apparently, yeah.
I reckon he played with them both. I'm not too sure. I'd need to check that in my
Big save by Kieran O'Hara, spread to block Kabangu's shot when he was clean through. So Hearts trying to kill the game off there after Craig Gordon made a big save at the other end. So the drama still continuing in these matches.
Been a decent game. So the story of the day remains Aberdeen. Whatever happened to Aberdeen? Whatever happened to Jimmy Tilleen? That rhymes. Whatever happened to Aberdeen? Whatever happened to Jimmy Tilleen?
Yeah, and their next game's in Edinburgh against Hibs. Remember that famous Aberdeen?
I thought he was going to try and rhyme again.
Yeah. No. Remember that famous night? Jim Goodwin, Aberdeen manager.
Yeah, 6-0.
Yeah.
I mean, against Hibs was just that's been the turning point. It's pretty much been the most significant game of the Scottish Premiership season, just in terms of the
effect it had on two
the
clubs.
impact afterwards on Aberdeen and Hibs.
Yeah.
4 minutes of stoppage time there will be at Tynecastle, so maybe a chance for Kilmarnock to get an equaliser.
I cannot wait for 5 o'clock to see which Motherwell fan gets through first.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be a few. Maybe you're a St Mirren fan delighted at what you've seen today. Maybe you're an Aberdeen fan that is concerned about recent form.
It's a kind of a journalistic thing, when a club, as I say, there are historically five major clubs in Scotland: Celtic, Rangers, Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen. Now, when one of the top 5 slumps as badly as Aberdeen have slumped, and when the result is as dramatic as today's result will be, you tend to focus on one of the historical 5. But of course, you're absolutely correct. You have to give Aberdeen, or rather St Mirren, credit for going to Pittodrie, and on the day they were clearly the better side by far.
4 minutes added at that game, so there is potential that it could get worse for Aberdeen. They'll be hoping not. That win would move St Mirren above Dundee, who of course were meant to play Celtic today. That game was postponed due to safety issues.
Wonder how many Aberdeen fans are still on the ground.
It's a very good point. We will hear the full-time reaction when we go to Dave Galloway to get the report to see what the mood is like amongst Aberdeen fans. We do have our first full-time. It comes at the Global Energy Stadium. Lana, Mackay.
Yeah, full time at the Global Energy Stadium. It's Ross County 1, Hibs 1. Late drama in Dingwall as Ronan Hale's penalty rescues a point for County after Jordan White missed from the spot in the first 45. Dylan Levitt's first half strike had the visitors in front at the break. That was the first time the Welshman scored since July. And Hibs largely controlled the second half, but it's been a real battle out there on a difficult pitch. Really muddy, and they had a couple of chances, Hibs, to double their leads. County were without a shot on target until the penalty. A really frantic end to the game here. It's now 8 matches unbeaten in the Premiership for David Gray's side, but they will be frustrated not to take away all 3 points today. They remain 6th. County fought well at the end. They're still in 10th, just a point behind Hearts and Dundee. A crazy end to the game here, but it's full time in Dingwall. Ross County 1, Hibs 1.
Yeah, just one of the games that has had late drama. And will we have any more? Because there is plenty of stoppage time in all of the games. I think we had 6 added between St Johnstone and Motherwell. We must be close to the end of that game.
It'd be interesting to see with the
it'll be interesting to see what the Motherwell fans think, because if they've played well today and lost, then what else have they got to moan about? Because they moan when they don't play well and win. If they come on and say they've played well and got beat, then what are they going to think about that?
The Hibs result, disappointment for David Gray. However, they go on to 30 points. They're 1 point behind Motherwell and 5 behind Aberdeen. So, for David Gray, that'll do. 1-1 will do him. He's moved in a decent direction because of that.
And it keeps that run going for Don Cowie, and I think was it 1 defeat and 5 they had coming into this, and that was that game against Celtic. So they keep a decent run going of picking up points consistently in games.
Although they will be overtaken by Hearts. There's a little bit of a log jam down that end of the table.
Full time in our featured championship game, David Friel.
Full time, Andrew. Ayr United 2, Partick Thistle 1. Really good game this. It's job done for Ayr United as they keep up with Falkirk and Livingston in the title race. George Oakley's first half double sealed the points, but Ayr were really made to work for their win in the second half. Nick McAllister's red card 15 minutes from time led to a pretty difficult finale for Scott Brown's side. Harry Milne then scored for the Jags with 3 minutes to go, but Ayr held firm after that to stay 2 points behind Falkirk in that promotion race. Curtis Main also come on for his debut in the second half. He'll be a big player in the second half of the season. He replaced 2-goal hero George Oakley. He's on to 14 for the season now. First goal was a bullet header 19 minutes from a Conor McLennan cross. They made it 2-0 before the break with another brilliant header, this time from Jay Henderson's cross. Second half was a lot more even, both sides had chances. Thistle did improve, they pushed hard. McAllister was sent off for a late tackle, and Milne in 75 minutes looked a bit harsh, and they were put under pressure after that. Milne converted a rebound in 87 minutes to make it a really nervy ending, but Ayr held firm. Harry Stone, the young keeper, was outstanding as they secured a big win. Full time, Ayr 2, Partick 1.
David Friel has definitely just kept the tag on that jacket, hasn't he? And he's taking it back to the shop straight after the game.
Yeah.
You just know that's going to happen. Right, we've got a full time at McDiarmid Park. Calum Brown.
At full time here, St Johnstone 2, Motherwell 1. Motherwell's first minute strike from the penalty spot cancelled out at the death. Taylor, Stephen and Bozo Mikulic with late goals for St Johnstone. It was looking, albeit like Motherwell were going to put in that classic away performance. Early goals, sit in, frustrate and come away with all 3 points, but boy did that turn very, very quickly. In the 86th minute, the ball just fell to substitute Taylor Stephen inside the box from Mickey Clark as St Johnstone piled bodies forward, and Taylor Stephen, as calm as you like, a left-footed finish to beat Ellery Balcombe. Stephen just back as well from a loan spell in the Northern Irish Premiership, and it's a first goal for St Johnstone. What a time to get it. And they didn't stop there. A couple of minutes later, a corner from Graham Carey looked like it was heading goalwards. I'm not sure who got the final touch. It was cleared off the line, then half cleared, put back into the box, and there was Bozo Mikulic, the Croatian central defender, and again another first, a first goal for the centre half for a 2-down Motherwell. Two players, as I say, scoring for the first time. Sidibe came close to making it 3-1. Motherwell had a last gasp attempt with Ellery Balcombe taking a free kick from just inside the St Johnstone half, but wasn't to be, as Fisher claimed. And just watching Simo Valakari taking in the applause from those St Johnstone fans, trying to rally the supporters. A huge late victory. It was looking, very bleak for St Johnstone. They now go 7 behind, close that gap to Kilmarnock in 11th. Motherwell remain 5th, unable to capitalise on Aberdeen's defeat, and St Mirren and Hibs now within a point of Stuart Kettlewell's side. It's finished here. St Johnstone 2, Motherwell 1.
Full time at Pittodrie, Dave Galloway.
Full time Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 3. A disastrous day at the office for the Dons, Andrew. Aberdeen were in blunderland early on as they gifted a goal just 7 minutes in. A simple ball forward. Rubezic tried to nod it back to Doohan, having no idea the keeper had come off his line, and Olasanya couldn't believe his luck, and he had a tap in. The Dons almost equalised when Hemming parried O'Kell's corner. curler from outside the box. It fell to Gay 6 yards out, but Hemming made a magnificent reaction save. Plenty pressure from the host, but another calamitous piece of play by Rubezic saw Saints double their advantage on 36 minutes. Olasanya beat his man with ease, and he cut back for Mandron, who had an easy finish. Rubezic was subbed just a few minutes later with Dorrington coming on, and it appears that the defender actually asked to be taken off. He certainly didn't look injured as he headed straight up the tunnel. The visitors looking very comfortable and very well organised. Aberdeen started the second half strongly. Palaversa lashed over from the edge of the box, not far away that one. Devlin's cutback was cleared with Ockles set to pounce, and Gay headed Ockles' cross just wide. They went so close to pulling one back when Nisbet's 25-yard free kick clipped the bar. At the other end, Olasanya passed up a decent chance to make it 3-0 for Saints. Kilty headed the ball to him, but his attempted overhead kick missed completely. But Aberdeen were piling on the pressure. Nisbet's close range free kick was blocked, and on the follow-up, Jensen's low drive went just past the far post. However, they were leaving themselves wide open to a ball over the top, and that's exactly how St Mirren scored their third goal. Gogic smashed the ball upfield. Mandron was onto it very smartly, and he netted with a brilliant volley into the corner after 78 minutes. That's now 13 Premiership games without victory for Jimmy Tillene's side, but Saints are back on track. It finished at Pittodrie, Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 3.
And finally, full time at Tynecastle. Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, Hearts 3, Kilmarnock 2. A scrappy first half, to be honest. Hearts ahead through an Elton Kabangu goal, but the second half was great to watch, excitement at both ends, and the thing that sparked the game was a Bobby Wales equaliser for Killie in 50 minutes. Hearts had to lift their game. They scored 2 in 3 minutes through Jamie McCart and George Grant, but a Fraser Murray header on 67 made it a really nervy end to the game for the Hearts supporters, with chances at both ends. In the first half, that goal came in the 7th minute. George Grant miscued the ball across goal. Blair Spittle had a go as well. He did exactly the same, but the ball fell to Kabangu from 6 yards out. Good low finish by the striker. The ball came to him quickly, but he tucked it away with his left foot. We needed better in the second half to get the crowd going, and we got it. It was much better to watch 4 goals in 17 minutes. 50 minutes, the equaliser when Watkins got to the byline. His low driven cutback. It's a brilliant finish by young Bobby Wales. Ball came to him really quickly, 12 yards out, but his low finish, a fierce volley low into the net. Great technique right into the corner. That goal sparked Hibs Hearts into action. They've been flat until then. Spittle was inches wide. The 20-yard free kick, the keeper was beaten, and in 58 minutes they did get their second goal, and it was very simple. James Penrice, he drove in an in-swinging corner, really great ball. Jamie McCart free, powered the ball into the net from 8 yards. 3 minutes later it was 3-1. Hearts this time was a disaster for Kieran O'Hara in the Killie goal. A Spittle cross deflected high into the air, and rather than jump to collect the ball, O'Hara just waited for it to drop to scoop it up, but he was out jumped by George Grant and the ball bounced into the empty net. But it was back to game on in 67 minutes. Killie got their second. Dan Armstrong linked with Hearts on for the second half, got to the byline, his right foot deep cross, and Fraser Murray out jumped Forrester at the back post and headed home. Really good finish by the winger, who was impressive all day. Sub Musa had a great chance to extend the lead. He was put through 1-on-1. He hit the outside of the post when he should have scored, and that would have helped Hearts fans' anxiety, but they had a nervy end to the game, and those nerves levels increased when David Watson struck a beautiful 25-yard shot. It was low, it was curling right into the bottom right hand corner, but Craig Gordon at full stretch tipped the ball wide. A great save by the goalkeeper. At the other end, O'Hara made an excellent save to keep it at 3-2 from Kabangu. Again, very impressive by the striker. The keeper this time spread himself to block the shot. Have to say that Hearts had a good day. They're up to 9th, 3 points off Hibs in the top 6, and other teams around them dropping points, but Killie, a wee bit worrying for them as they drop into 11th and the play-off place. Full time, an exciting second half at Tynecastle. Hearts 3, Kilmarnock 2.
Well, the action is over, but the show certainly isn't. We have the open line up next, 0141 951 1025. No lack of talking points this week in general, but certainly today. St Mirren 3-0 winners over Aberdeen. St Mirren fans, what do you make of that performance? You must be delighted. Aberdeen fans, it must be the opposite. What are you making of this run that your team are on under Jimmy Tillene? Motherwell fans, I want to hear from you. There's been a bit of discontent there with Stuart Kettlewell. 1-0 up, looked as if you were going to get all 3 points. losing 2-1 to St Johnstone. Maybe you're a Celtic fan that wants to talk about Kyogo's imminent departure, you want to talk about Jota's imminent arrival, or Rangers fans, maybe you've got some opinions ahead of visiting Dundee United tomorrow. 0141 951 1025, and you'll be up next.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
What a day of action in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic against Dundee was postponed, but that didn't slow things down at all. A 3-0 win for St Mirren against Aberdeen at Pittodrie, keeping that long winless run in the Premiership for Jimmy Tillene's men going. Hearts 3-2 winners over Kilmarnock. Ross County 1, Hibs 1, St Johnstone 2, Motherwell 1, and it looked as if it was going to be a Motherwell win as well, didn't it? Because they were ahead so late in the game. St Johnstone turned it round, and we want to hear your opinions on all of today's action. 0141 951 1025. Who will be the most active fans today, Hugh?
The most interesting call would be from someone who supported Motherwell at McDiarmid Park today, because the charge that has been levelled against Stuart Kettlewell is that away from home they are simply not adventurous at all. Now, they got the penalty in the first minute, they're a goal up. Did they try to stonewall it and get caught late on, or were they more adventurous than that and it just didn't work out for them? But whichever is the case, the belated collapse is the very last thing that Stuart Kettlewell needed at this time.
I'm looking at that game today. Obviously Aberdeen fans will be raging, but you're looking at Motherwell. Last week they'd one shot on target, right? This week I'm looking at the stats. 30 possession, 30% of the possession they had. Motherwell fans will not accept that. Look, I'm all for where the league position is. They're still sitting there in 5th. You'd accept that. I will buy them every excuse in the world. The fact that they've got real bad injuries to real key players, guys that would play week in, week out, that's important to them. But Motherwell have backed him. Motherwell backed Stuart, and I'll be interested in what he says tonight. He's got to be disappointed. St Johnstone are rock bottom. He knows that they're going to be fighting for their lives. They went one up. They get a great confidence booster early on. They lost last week. Surely they should have learned from it this week. That is a poor result. Motherwell fans will not be happy.
Jimmy Tillene has been backed by Aberdeen, I should say, in this window. That today, is that one of the more worrying defeats in this run of winless games that Aberdeen have had?
Yeah, and I think the problem is that a lot of people seem to know what's coming with Aberdeen. We spoke about it before the game. They're so open defensively, so easy to play against. I go back to the night they were at Ibrox. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Time after time after, just not learning the lesson. Trying to play out, getting caught, goal. Trying to play out, getting caught, chance conceded. But yeah, I think St Mirren going up there as well, they were probably in a little bit of a sort of strange run, as they seem to do. Jimmy Tillene would have looked at that and been hoping for 3 points, but to go and get beat in the manner that they did, 3-0 at home, it just doesn't look good for them.
You think back to the match they played with Rangers start of the season, typical blood and thunder match against Rangers at Pittodrie, which they win 2-1. Celtic go there, albeit on a night of absolutely dreadful weather, but it's a terrific match, and Rio Hatate gets the only goal of the game. Now at Pittodrie, they played against Hearts a few weeks ago, live on television, Sunday afternoon, goalless draw, and they were deplorable. They're playing at home today against St Mirren and lose 3-0. Those 4 games at Pittodrie sum up the kind of split season that Aberdeen have had, from the high of the win against Rangers to the absolute low of this awful defeat to St Mirren.
Well, maybe you are on your way back from your team's game. We want to hear your thoughts on their performance. 0141 951 1025. Lots to get through on the phones before 6 o'clock, so make sure to get your calls in right now. Maybe your team didn't play today and you've got an opinion, because there is some breaking news coming out of nothing official yet, but Jota has arrived in Glasgow. The Scottish Sun, David Friel, story saying Jota is in Glasgow now, so looks as if that deal is imminent. Whether it is confirmed over the weekend or whether it's at the start of the week, that looks as if it's going to happen. Celtic fans, any more thoughts on his imminent arrival? Any more thoughts on Kyogo's imminent departure to Rennes as well? And Rangers fans, what did you take away from Thursday night going into tomorrow's match away to Dundee United? Are you still fearing that away record in the Scottish Premiership that's not going well at all? Is that going to continue tomorrow on?
With regard to Jota, reading what Brendan Rodgers had to say yesterday about him, and he said he was looking forward to working with him because he felt he had reached a point in his career where he could get more, even more out of him, and that's a Brendan Rodgers speciality. He has made players like Matt O'Reilly, for example, signed for a very low fee into a £25 million player. He's done it with everyone at the club. And here we have Jota and Brendan Rodgers saying, I can make him even better. So I think the Celtic fans will be thrilled by the news that he's in Glasgow and very, very excited to see him back in a Celtic jersey.
I'm keen to hear the thoughts of supporters who were at games today. Maybe they're just taking their time getting away from the ground, gathering their thoughts. Give us a call, 01419511025 while you get your calls in. We'll speak to John, who's a Rangers fan on the line. John, what have you got for us tonight?
Well, I asked Mr. Keevins, what did you think of the average age of your team, and what did you think we're going forward as back?
Well, I wouldn't say you're going backwards, no. You played against a Manchester United team who are a pale imitation of great Man United sides, but Rangers were very, very unfortunate, and I think the Bailey Rices of this world, I think now is the time to see far more of them in the team. I'd be astonished if Bailey Rice wasn't on the park at some stage tomorrow at Tannadice. I think the Rangers fans like yourself can take great encouragement from what happened at Old Trafford, and the acid test, as you know, John, will be tomorrow at Tannadice, because the away games have been the bugbear for Philippe Clement. But let me ask you a question. If Rangers were to go to Tannadice tomorrow and win, and because of Celtic's postponement today, that would reduce the lead to 10 points that Celtic have over Rangers, would you have even the slightest hope that this might not yet be over, John?
Hugh, I've told you for weeks, I won't give a title over until the fat lady sings, as they would say. Right, I know I shouldn't say that. I'll no give up the title, yeah. But I think, by the way, I'm not Tab's biggest fan. We had to makeshift team, right? And I know you can see what you want to say about Man United, right? There's millions and millions of pounds worth of players out there, and Tab had to go to centre half, and Tab was outstanding at centre half, by the way. He had a really, really good game. You know what I mean? And I thought it was encouragement. He Tom Lawrence and came down on the bench, they put 2 young boys on, and then Big Cyril come on and scored a cracker. We were unlucky. And I've heard Talk Sport and all that said it was a crap game. Look at the amount of saves keepers had. Each keeper saved. I thought it was an entertaining game.
With regard to Tom Lawrence, Kieran Dowell, I think their time has come and gone.
Tom Lawrence was just back from a long-term injury, so it maybe made sense for others. But I mean, Kieran Dowell is maybe the question more that some Rangers fans will be thinking, with Bailey Rice, who's been there, available for selection all season, and before that, why was he not getting minutes maybe when someone like Kieran Dowell was?
This is another feature of Philippe Clement's management. Why wasn't Yanis Hadji in the team at the start of the season?
Because that was a contractual issue, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but even when the contractual issue was resolved, Philippe Clement made it clear that he didn't really see a big future for him at Ibrox, and then had to concede that Hadji was making a tremendous difference to the team when he got back into it. And I think now that the youngsters have played so well at Old Trafford, now you will see more of them. As I say, Dowell and Lawrence, their time has come and gone because they've been part of something that's been unsuccessful, and Rangers now have to look at ways of making the unsuccessful successful.
See, this season, Hugh, I sort of disagree with that. I don't think you'll see more of the younger players. I think his hand was forced because of the injuries. I totally agree with John. I thought Tavernier at right centre back was sensational. I really did. I thought he played really, really well indeed. But I like the fact that he threw on a couple of young players. They rose to the occasion, and that's what happens when a young player, you go in there with no fear now. We've all been there. It'll be interesting to see when everybody's fit again how much game time these young players get.
So Clement was quite clear after the game that he said that he feels, in particular, Bailey Rice and Finlay Curtis, big players for the future, but said they're not at a stage where they can be starting games. Doesn't feel they're starters at the moment. Doesn't mean they'll never start a game, but he made a point of saying that after the game, because he probably expects that there will be a bit of a clamour from supporters to see them. Yeah,
that's just the way he operates. Now, you can either agree with it or disagree with it, and I'm sure there's a lot of Rangers fans would be desperate for these young boys to get a run out, but Clement's got to realise, and Rangers fans got to realise, it's okay saying, right, okay, I'll bow to the fans here and I'll give the young players a run out. See if he doesn't get results, the supporters aren't going to turn around and say, well, we're playing young players, don't worry about it. They're going to go after the manager. So in a way I can understand what he's doing. Look, I said earlier in the programme, I thought young Rice, when he come on, was exceptional. I really did. I think he looks a player that knows the game inside out. He's got a great vision for a pass, everything about him. But I'll go back to it. I think once he gets everybody back, everybody fit again, these guys will be then used sparingly.
I'm not suggesting that they'll start matches, because this week there's been evidence of how players can flatter to deceive. Alec Lowry went to Wycombe Wanderers. Now, at one time Alec Lowry was going to be the next big thing at Rangers, and he's now gone to Wycombe Wanderers. So they don't always maintain their progress. But what I do think will happen in the case of Bailey Rice, you will see him on the bench, and you will see him.
That's a starting point, though, isn't it? Because Bailey Rice and Finlay Curtis have rarely been on the bench at all this season. They make it onto the European bench because you can select more players, and of course they need to be in the European squad because of the homegrown quota. But when you look at Rangers' domestic squads over the course of the season, pretty much every single week Bailey Rice and Finlay Curtis haven't been on the bench. So Rangers fans will first of all be looking to see whether they even make the squad tomorrow.
Yeah, but that's what will change. They will be in the squads and on the bench. As I say, with regard to Lawrence and Dowell, they've been part of something whereby Celtic have won 5 of the last 6 trophies, and that's,
I'm not too sure, Hugh, if I'm writing Tom Lawrence off like you. I take on board with Dowell, right? I think his race is run, and I think he'll know that himself, and the best thing for him is probably to move on. Tom Lawrence, I think, is a little bit unlucky. I think Tom Lawrence was playing okay up until he got his injury. I don't think Rangers will be in a rush to try and get him out the door just now. I think they'll get him back in and see what he's got to produce to the end of the season.
The bottom line is John saying he will not concede the title until it is arithmetically impossible for Rangers to lose it, and that's what makes tomorrow extremely important. Tannadice is now vital, because if Rangers went there and drew the match or lost the match, then John would have to concede the title.
Well, thank you to John. I'm still really keen to hear from supporters that were at matches today. Motherwell fans, surely you've got some thoughts on that late collapse. 1-0 up against St Johnstone and then losing the game at 2-1. St Mirren fans, surely you must be delighted after that 3-0 win away to Aberdeen at Pittodrie. Aberdeen fans, what do you make of that? Another game without a win in the league. That must be concerning. Or maybe you're a Kilmarnock Hearts fan. Ross County Hibs, we want to hear from you. 01419511025. Celtic fans, the news that Jota is in Glasgow ready to complete that move. Maybe you've got thoughts on him or Kyogo. Anything else? 01419511025.
The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard's open line.
Day of drama, a day of late drama in the Scottish Premiership as well. St Johnstone with a 2-1 win over Motherwell. They'd been 1-0 down since the opening 4 minutes of the game, an Andy Halliday penalty it was, but late goals from Taylor Stephen, and it was Bozo Mikulic as well who got those goals, and it's a big win for them, a big defeat for Motherwell. Aberdeen 3-0 defeat to St Mirren. Hearts 3-2 winners over Kilmarnock. Ross County 1, Hibs 1. Any thoughts on those matches? Let us know. 0141 951 1025. Particularly keen, I think, to hear from Motherwell fans on that result today, but St Mirren Aberdeen fans as well want to hear from you. Maybe you're a Celtic fan who's excited at the news Jota has landed in Glasgow, ready to put pen to paper on his Celtic return. What do you make of that? What do you make of Kyogo's move in the other direction, going to Rennes? And we just heard the thoughts of John, a Rangers fan who is looking ahead to tomorrow's game against Dundee United, another away game, another domestic away game, the ones that have troubled Rangers so much this season. What are your thoughts ahead of that? 0141 951 1025. We'll start to hear from some of the managers involved in today's games as well, but let's speak to Alec, who's on the line. Alec, what have you got for us?
It's about Jota and coming back to Celtic Park and Kyogo away. I don't understand why they think let Kyogo go and bring in Jota.
You don't understand it?
Jota could throw the ball into the middle of the box. Jota's there. He's a penalty box striker.
Yeah, but it's two separate issues. Two separate issues here, Alec. Kyogo felt that he wanted to leave Celtic. Under those circumstances, Brendan Rodgers has no option but to agree to the player's wishes, because he doesn't want an unhappy player about the place. It's not about money, it's not about anything other than Kyogo's wish to go and play elsewhere. At the same time, fortunately for Celtic, Jota's available at the same club, and Jota, loved by the Celtic fans, has clearly agreed to go back to Celtic because he wants to be at Celtic. Kyogo no longer wanted to be at Celtic, and therefore he's away and Jota is in for that reason. One wanted to be at the club and the other one didn't.
I've got a question here for you, Hugh. Right, you back at was it last year? I phoned up when Colak left Rangers. I'm a Celtic fan, obviously, right? And I said to you at the time, I said, that's the biggest mistake Rangers of the day, because he'll score goals for Rangers and he'll let him go, and Celtic won that week. That Colak was still there. Rangers had a great chance to win that week at that particular time.
Well,
and you actually mocked me on this radio show.
Well, the fact of the matter is he left and Celtic won the league, and he's got no relevance to any conversation now. The only conversation worth having now is what effect, if any, will the loss of Kyogo Furuhashi have on Celtic? That's the question that has to be answered. And my feeling is that on top of Jota, and whether or not Kieran Tierney comes in now or summertime, Brendan Rodgers, having known for weeks that Kyogo was going, there must have been moves behind the scenes to bring in a striker. I cannot believe that Celtic will get to the window closure on the 3rd of February and not have brought in a striker.
Alec, will you feel a bit more relaxed about Kyogo leaving if Celtic do manage to get a striker in before the end of the window? Brendan Rodgers certainly alluding to the fact that they want that.
No, he's trusting Clyde, isn't he? So, you know what you're getting from him. You bring somebody else in, you don't know what you're going to get from him.
But, I mean, Kyogo was unhappy. Brendan Rodgers said that. He said he wanted to leave the club. Does that, would you rather have kept him despite the fact that he, openly said to Brendan Rodgers he doesn't want to be there?
Well, you said earlier on today, got an agent. Obviously, he's done an influence on him. But I'd have kept him this summer. They promised him probably, right, we'll let you bolt, do what you want.
The ideal situation was for Celtic to keep him this summer, right? But you're right. If Kyogo wants out the building, there's no point in keeping him. The deal that they're getting, especially with him leaving, is a good one. I think Jota will be sensational when he comes back. I think he's at the right age now, desperate to get back playing week in, week out, showing what he's all about. So he's got that little bit of hunger about him. It's a blow for Celtic fans. Of course, in an ideal world, bringing Tierney, Jota and keeping Kyogo would have been perfect for them. But football's not like that. And I think Celtic are quite right to say, right, okay, if you don't want to be here, the deal's there, £10 million, Jota in. It makes good business, but it's really important for Celtic, and I agree with you here. They have got to have a centre forward ready to come in.
And with regard to Jota, Ross's pal in Saudi Arabia has been on to him. Such is the global nature of this programme, because I said he's been over there making sandcastles for a year. And Ross's pal says that Saudi football is better than I am giving it credit for being. So I'll be interested to see what his year in Saudi and his time in France has done for him, and how quickly he gets back into that Celtic side. But the most important thing for me was to hear Brendan Rodgers say that he believes that as a manager he can make Jota even better.
Alec was really keen for Celtic to keep Kyogo despite his wishes to leave. What can it do for a club if they do end up holding on to a player who actively doesn't want to be there? Can that cause disruption?
Well, there's two parts to this for me, and it all depends on Kyogo's character. Now, that 10 million would still be there in the summer, 100%. So for me, if Kyogo's going to be a character who's going to rock the boat and spit the dummy out and what have you, then yes, you've got to move him on. If that's not in his character, then there's no reason why Celtic should be letting. I can't get my head round it. You do not let him go this transfer window, not when they've got the playoff coming up in the Champions League. Keep him until the summer. And I tell you what else might happen here. If Brendan Rodgers and Celtic are looking at bringing a striker in, there's a million different things that can happen in terms of deals falling through and medicals being failed and stuff. If he is going to go, do not let him go until that striker is signed, sealed and delivered, because anything can happen, and Celtic don't want to be left here with no striker.
Is there a real weighing up process here? Because it seems as if the only reason the Jota deal came about was because Rennes wanted Kyogo.
Mm-hmm.
So Celtic then have a decision to make. Do you keep Kyogo, who actively wants to leave, and then you probably don't get Jota? Or do you make that deal happen? Kyogo goes one way, Jota comes the other way. You're making a profit in terms of the sale against them buying Jota. They might feel they've got a better asset on their hands.
Yeah, I think that Celtic have probably weighed everything up. I take on board all the arguments. Me personally, if I was Celtic, I'd have loved to have kept Kyogo to the end of the season. You're losing your best striker, you're weakening your side. But Jota, for me, will excite the fans. I know he's not the centre forward. They've still got, remember, and people will argue, a £9 million centre forward in their books. They've still got the young lad Kenny. Maeda can play through the middle, but I don't think Celtic will be left sleeping here. I think they will have a centre forward in before the window. And we can talk about, that 10 million, I totally agree with Ross, would still been there at the end of the summer. He could have moved them on then. But Brendan Rodgers sounds too much in control of this and relaxed about it. The player has obviously made big noises to get out of Celtic Park, and if that's the case, you've got to let him go and deal with your own business.
It's the nature of the club. You know, I could take you back 40 years to Ken Dalglish leaving Celtic, you know, and people thought, oh, the place will fall down. It doesn't. When Dembele wanted to go, Celtic get £20 million for him. The ground didn't fall down. Odsonne Edouard took over, then Odsonne Edouard left, other players came in. It is the nature of the club, and Kyogo has been fantastic for Celtic, but he didn't want to be there any longer.
Well, thank you to Alec. Let's hear from Stephen Robinson, shall we? A big win for them today over Aberdeen.
We've had lots of good performances in recent weeks, but what was the big plus for me today was our defending from set plays. Zach's dominance in the air and the back five. The strikers will get all the plaudits, rightly so, but for me as the manager, the reason that we're not higher up on the table has been our defending from set plays in the second phase. We defended for our lives today. We rely on Zach to come and dominate, which he done, and that gives us a platform to play from. So a lot of good stuff for me. That's the big take from the whole game.
Still got time left to hear from those who were at games today. St Mirren fans, what do you make of that big performance? Aberdeen fans, it's a bit of a disaster at the moment for Jimmy Tilleen and his team. Maybe you've got some thoughts on that. Motherwell fans, late defeat at McDiarmid Park to St Johnstone. 0141 951 1025. We'll go to William, who's a Rangers fan in Stevenson. What are you thinking tonight, William? Are you there, William? We'll try and get William back there. We're just watching the 5:30 kickoff and down in England was Man City Chelsea. Manchester City already 1-0 down. Spent £40 million on a new central defender from, I think he's from Uzbekistan. Signed him from Ligue 1 in France, and he has had maybe one of the worst starts to a debut I think I've ever seen.
He's had a Rubizic.
Oh, he's headed the ball back towards his own goal really, really short. It's allowed Chelsea to go in. Noni Madueke scored, and then about a minute later he's dived in twice, not got the ball, and then got into the book.
That's in par with the worst debut I've ever seen for Manchester City, and it was me against Chelsea as well. Let me tell you, Stamford Bridge, he's having a real one, and the game's only 5 minutes gone.
Yeah, not looking good. I think we can get William now. William, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear you?
What are you thinking?
Hello?
Hello,
Yeah,
got you.
Hello, Andrew and panel. It's just about the game tomorrow. I've looked at the season, and away from home, right, we've dropped 22 points, 20 away from home, which is unbelievable, and 2 at home. If we stick to the 2 strikers tomorrow, usually when we play 2 strikers off a Hadji, we're generally okay. Give Dundee United more to worry about. Don't play the 1 striker, because we just make it easy for the team sitting in away from home. We need to go bold with the 2 strikers. What do you think, panel?
Yeah, Philippe Clement has mixed it up, hasn't he? At times, a lot of the time you've seen Éowyn and Danilo play together. There's been other times where it's Barami that's playing in behind, or they've had other players, Diamandi's pushed forward. You know, do you think Rangers look better when they've got 2 strikers on the pitch, even though it is one sort of dropping deeper?
I think the biggest question tomorrow will be personnel. Who will bring back, who will play. He likes the 1 striker with the 3 in behind and the 2 sitting midfield players. That's his usual setup. I agree. I think you've got to go and be very positive. You've got to change something, right? If your away record is so poor, then you know that whatever you're doing is probably not working, right? It's not rocket science. So you've got to tweak something. But it'll be interesting to see what his lineup is tomorrow.
When they were losing at St Mirren, they were 1 up, lost. When they went to Hibs, they were 2 up, lost. So the problem is at the back, and I don't know what they seem to be spooked. When St Mirren equalised, Rangers were spooked. When Hibs made it 2-2, Rangers were spooked. So there's no way of telling what will happen at Tynecastle tomorrow, because, as I say, they were 2 up at Easter Road and looked as if they were going to really turn Hibs over, and it finished up 3-3.
Alex says, William says about going bold. Is that the right strategy for Rangers away from home?
I don't know if it would be bold, but I look at Rangers. A lot of their good results recently has been, he's right, with when you've got Danilo and Éowyn in the team. But even when they are in the team, what I will say is it's not a conventional 2 up front. They have got 2 strikers on the pitch, but it's still 1 up as a number 9 and 1 in behind as a number 10. I like the idea for Sunday. For me, I would play Dessers up front as a 9 and give Éowyn a bit of a free roll. I like watching him when he comes deep and gets involved and gets turning and running at people. I think he's probably a little bit more restricted when he plays as a number 9. But in terms of going bold in that, I think it'll be pretty much the same as it has been, really. 1 up, 1 off, and just play that way.
William, is there anyone that you feel has to absolutely start tomorrow?
Well, he's a much maligned figure, isn't he, Dessers, right? But you look at him, right? He scored 17 goals this year. He's a top goal scorer in every competition this season. I think with his goal on Thursday and his hat-trick in the game before, is it Ross? I think it was Ross that made the point. Play him as the striker and play Éowyn behind, and I think we'll give Dundee United more problems. Dessers, I think you've got to start him just with that goal on Thursday. He's got a lot of confidence from that goal. You can see he was gutted after it. I think he'll take that into tomorrow and maybe score again.
Dessers has really been out of favour recently. Can you see that goal doing anything different for his chances? Yeah,
100%. I think it shows every Rangers fan there's ability there. I've always backed him. There's something about him I like. I know at times he's not the fans' favourite. I know he's frustrating at times, but I totally agree with you. He scores goals. That's one thing about him. Yes, you can argue, how many chances does he miss? He's always in the position, and you'll tell MD as a centre forward, I'd rather go off the park missing 3 chances than go off the park not even having one. So I like Dessers, right? I know he gets a rough ride, but I think he can add something to it. I wouldn't sell Dessers in the January window. I'd keep him.
Would you go along with that, Ross?
Just the last statement there that he wouldn't sell him. I think Rangers,
unless the money was,
yeah.
You know what I mean. But I wouldn't be desperate to get rid of him. He scored 17 goals.
Well, what I will say is the amount of goals that he scored last season and this season. If you look at the Celtic fans, probably going to be up in arms the fact that Kyogo's leaving. How many has he scored this season? And everyone loves him. Dessers is what? How many more has he scored? And he gets dogs abuse time after time. I'm a Gordon. I like Dessers. He works hard. It's just sometimes there's a little bit of a technical kind of glitch there where he's not necessarily great. Do you know what
I think's helped him? I think the fact that he's been left out the team, that he's not that focal point now. He's coming on, he's getting games here and there. You seen him the other night there. That is a real top striker's finish at Old Trafford.
He's not given the slack that other strikers get. Even the greatest, Alan McCoist, would miss plenty of chances and score lots and lots of goals. Dessers last week in the cup tie, and I know it's Fraser, but Rangers can only play what's in front of them. He misses an absolute sitter and then scores a hat-trick, and he plays against Man U and scores a high quality goal, but for some reason the supporters don't cut him that kind of slack whereby they say, alright, he misses chances, but look at the goals he scores.
Well, thank you to William. Still time to get your calls in. I want to hear from those who were at games today. Motherwell fans, St Mirren fans, maybe you're an Aberdeen fan as well. 01419511025.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard's open line.
Still time to get your calls in on tonight's Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard. I want to hear from you, Motherwell fans, St Mirren fans, Aberdeen fans, after all of those eventful games today. A 3-0 win for St Mirren at Pittodrie. Hearts 3-2 winners over Kilmarnock. Ross County drawing with Hibs, a late penalty they got in that game, and a really late turnaround for St Johnstone. Motherwell 1-0 up early on, but St Johnstone with 2 late goals to win that game 2-1. Stuart Kettlewell, let's hear from him.
No, listen, it's miles from where we need to be in the first half in particular. Thought reactions were horrendous to every situation, whether it be us in possession or us out of possession. I know I work with an honest group of players, but at times for me those instincts and reactions can make your body language look poor, which I'm mad on. And we didn't carry any threat whatsoever. I spoke about it to the players after the game there, that we find ourselves in a position where we've lost 4 goals the last 2 games. We've had a new goalkeeper in for the last 2 games. He's not saved the ball. So we have to take a responsibility for outfield players as to how that becomes a scenario. Listen, the players gave a reaction in the second half. Still no enough quality. We had the running of the game, we had possession of the ball, we had territorial advantage, but I didn't feel we'd done anywhere near enough with it to carve out opportunities and to start to grow in belief. As I say, that possession element of it, that territorial advantage, it doesn't get you into the next round of the cup. You need to show more. You need to show more in terms of how you start a game of football, and you need to show more when you find yourself in the thick of the battle and you're up against it because of how you started.
That clip, just realised, is from last weekend. If we can get the clip of Stuart Kettlewell. It was when he mentioned the cup there. I was starting to think, because he said that last week, didn't he, about we had a new goalkeeper in that's not made a save.
I was surprised there, thinking they were 1 up, and all of a sudden he's given them real hard time in the first half. Probably wrong clip.
Mind you could play today's clip
and the same.
It wouldn't sound any different.
Yeah, we'll hopefully be able to get that clip before the end of the show. I imagine he's not going to be very happy. Right, there we go. I think we've got the actual clip now.
You can't. It's evident that we completely switch off, that we don't stand strong
Inside our penalty box, it's clear to see that that's now 3 set plays that we've conceded in the last 2 weeks. That's been accountable from the 3 goals that St Johnstone have scored. We know they've got good delivery, not the biggest side in the world, but we know they've got good delivery. But you felt that little bit building towards it, where they were getting a couple of first contacts, and then ultimately for me, that's where we need to ask the question about that mental strength, that mental capacity to be able to stand strong. Didn't think we'd done well in the second half, felt that we started to drop off the game, and then in this league, symptomatic. If you do that, that's not the message at half time. We want to treat it as if we're levelling the game. We want to treat it as if we're the team that needs to score the next goal, to try and be in the ascendancy, to try and be in the front foot. But once you start to drop off, you start to concede that pressure, you start to concede territory. If that's where we find ourselves in the game, which will be the case further on in the season, you have to have a far better determination to defend your penalty box, and we simply didn't have that today, and that's the end result. From a leading position with 4 minutes or whatever a normal time to go, you end up losing a game of football, and for me that's inexcusable.
I think we could summarise all of that by saying Motherwell were rotten last week and they're rotten this week. And he's gone through the whole card there about players who switch off, players who don't stand strong, the mental capacity has been questioned. It's just one negative after another.
Well, he's got to get it right, because he's got Celtic calling next week, I think it is. Look, I think what he'll be disappointed, and he's right. If you're 1 up with 4 minutes to go plus added time, right, the worst scenario you're looking maybe a point, right? You're away from home, you know that they're going to throw everything at you, but to lose 2 goals within 2 minutes, if you're a manager, that's unacceptable.
I was hoping to hear from Jimmy Tilleen, but I'm not sure anyone from Aberdeen has been in post-match yet. That's going to be quite a long post-match conversation, I think, between him and his players.
He is very much entitled to be in the dressing room with his players, because he's lost one player. He subbed that player, Slobodan Ruzovic, in the first half. In the first half, after 2 howlers from him, he's taken him off. That was 2-0. Second half, 3-0. And he's entitled to be in that dressing room, because it's post-mortem time now. It's time to say, right, when did we fall apart, and why have we fallen apart? He'll speak to the press when he gets out. That's when you know, when they're, from a journalistic point of view, when they get longer and longer and longer and longer in the dressing room, you know they're in big trouble.
Sarah is a Celtic fan in Bearsden. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I just calling basically to say, obviously I'm a Celtic fan. I watched the Champions League match the other night against Young Boys, and I'm an avid fan of kind of Celtic and everything on Twitter. I just wanted to say I think the Celtic fans' treatment of Arne Engels after his missed penalty the other day is point blank unfair. I think it's just, he's been absolutely slaughtered online, and he's missed 1 out of 7, and his confidence, yes, took a dip after that, but I don't think the way he gets treated because of his price tag is even remotely justified.
That is the hazard, Sarah. When you not only cost a lot of money, but you have broken the club's transfer record into the bargain, people find it impossible to separate the player from the money, and they never get an even break. Arne Engels, as you say, 1 penalty missing 7. In the cup final against Rangers, he had the bottle to come up, and in the penalty shootout, he took his penalty and did it well. So on a night of very strange goings on, he get caught up in the madness of it all. 3 disallowed goals, missed penalty, red card, own goal winner, etc, etc, etc. That's just the burden he has to bear, and he will do. But on the night, I think after the 3 disallowed goals, the fans thought when he missed the penalty, it's going to be one of those nights, but it wasn't, because of perseverance. And to be fair to the fans, Sarah, I thought in the second half they really, really got behind the team. The Brendan Rodgers and the fans have had a wee fallout earlier on, but I thought the fans in the second half really tried to lift Celtic's performance level.
He does seem to be quite divisive, and the opinions you see, whether it's on the phone in, whether it's online, are the extremes at the other end about Arne Engels, because there are quite a few people, and Hugh relates to it, we'll talk about the price tag, and some people say he's maybe not lived up to that so far. There are people who will come out and strongly defend him and be very happy with his performances so far and his contribution and the fact he's young and still got a lot to go. It's quite a strange situation with Arne Engels, isn't it?
Strange is correct, yeah. I think there's another part of this problem here, in that Arne Engels is keeping out someone who 90% or 85-90% of the Celtic fans want to see starting, is Luke McCown. So they go after Hatate, give him dog's abuse, and I tell you what, Gordon said it earlier, if Hatate is not on that pitch midweek, Celtic don't get that win, because there's no one else that can play that pass. That pass was phenomenal. But going back to Arne Engels, I think because he's keeping Luke McCown out of the team and everyone wants to see him starting, anytime he has an even remotely off game, he's going to come in for some criticism. I don't get it with the penalty. Everyone can miss a penalty. The only thing that I was disappointed about with that penalty is that whole stuttered run up. It doesn't do it for me, where you're waiting on the goalkeeper to move. For me, put the ball on the spot, pick your spot, run up and hit it. If you score, you score. If the keeper makes a good save, fair enough. But for me, I don't like that stuttered run up.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has got to do with the price tag. I like the boy. I think he'll get better and better. It's his first year. He's brave enough to step up and take the penalty kicks. Ross is right. Everybody, best players in the world, can miss penalty kicks. I think it was the fact of how important the game was and the disappointment. You seen the disappointment. He was over to take a corner and you could actually see it in his face how disappointed he was. So he was hurting inside as well. Look, he's working under Brendan Rodgers. He's in a good team. He will just get better and better because he's got good talent.
You also have to separate the people on social media from the people who are inside the stadium. Sarah has spoken about the abuse that Arne Engels has taken on social media. I am pointing out and underlining that the people who were inside the stadium, particularly in the second half of the match, were tremendously supportive of Celtic, and like Brendan Rodgers and the players, they got their reward in the end.
Well, thank you to Sarah. Lots of good action in the Scottish Premiership today. Hugh, how do you look back on it?
The story of the day, without question, is Jimmy Tillene and Aberdeen. They have not only gone into free fall, but when you're losing 3-0 at home to St Mirren, then you have very, very serious cause for concern. Likewise, Stuart Kettlewell, the result at St Johnstone is indicative of a team, a Motherwell team, who have totally lost their way. But on a day when we did not have Celtic because of postponement, and we did not have Rangers because they don't play until tomorrow, we had matches that gave us talking points, excitement and goals. I really enjoyed the day.
Well, that's all we've got time for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for phoning in. Thank you for getting involved online as well. Thank you to Gordon Dalziel, Ross McCormack and Hugh Keevins in the studio. Dundee United against Rangers tomorrow. We'll reflect on that and all of today's action on Monday night's show. But up next, it's the GBX.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Book a test drive for the Volvo EX30 today. Head online for details.
Hey, Mary, ups Mary. Tell us how that went.
Yeah, came out real hungry. Had to be quick to save the last few. Bagels, that is.
Warburton's protein thin bagels?
Yeah, right. Kept my eye on the prize, as I knew we'd bring the heat later, in the toaster.
How about the rest of the team, though?
Yeah, great support from Cosa Manchego. Prosciutto played a blinder as well, so got pretty tasty out there at times.
Sandwich of two halves, would you say?
Yeah, 100%, and 8 grams of protein. Great result.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
The protein range from Warburton's, bakers born and bred.
Cappuccino for Kristen.
Oh, sorry, mate, I've forgotten my card.
All right, of course you have. Third time this week, just saying.
I'll get the next ones, promise.
No need.
Oh, thank you.
You can just send me £4.70 with your PayPal app for your double shot oat milk skinny caramel latte with extra foam.
Oh, don't forget my sprinkles.
Don't just pay. PayPal.
A PayPal account is required to send and receive money.